And go. We're live. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the New Year's Eve live stream. It's me and Kevin.
Yeah.
Uh yep. How you doing, boy?
Man, I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. It was a long day for old Salty Dalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a
Now,
gout flare up on yesterday.
you had a gout flare up. You got
Yeah.
you got Bobby Hill disease.
I've had it for years.
Dude, what are you doing wrong
Eating
to
like red meat.
okay, yeah, because gout's one of those things that will go away if you change the right things.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just choosing to have gout.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like I want to enjoy my life and stuff. It's like, so, hey, we made a steak for you. It's like, of course I'm gonna fucking eat it.
I like that your version of enjoying life is being in extreme pain so that you can eat steak.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, dude. I what the
I don't
hell?
know what to do, Dalton. Like I really, like I'm not. I don't want to change. You don't change at 33 years old, you
Yeah,
know.
you
So
do. Yeah, you do. You just have a defeatist attitude about that kind of thing.
yeah,
Um yeah. 33 is not like ancient. It's not old. It's not like, especially nowadays, it's not an age in which anyone is like now set in their ways.
yeah.
Um yeah. But I get it. Most people don't want to change. Change is scary. It's very scary.
What are you scared of changing? You have anything you want to talk about that you're scared of changing?
I'm trying to change everything. I've never had any issues with change. I felt that early on in life that um I was always like hyper aware of that, just like in being in school and just realizing that like as the years pass, you're gonna like move in and out of these different classes with people, say
Mm-hmm.
goodbye to teachers, the seasons change, the years go on, and so I don't know. I just kind of like learned at like an early age to just make peace with the fact that um change is kind of the only constant. Really, is change itself. Um,
I've always been kind of afraid of being like a chameleon, just being whatever anybody wants me to be, you know. So
right. Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm not trying to like conform to what people want from me or anything like
well,
that.
that's what changes to me. It's like
No, no. It's to me. It's being what you want for yourself. Like I think people get set in a certain mindset and like a certain routine set in their ways. And because I've seen it with tons of people where they're like complacent in whatever they're doing in life, but they exist with this like low grade baseline misery, which I don't know. It's like they found like a level of comfort and complacency, but they're also just kind of miserable and uh wondering like what is the meaning of all this? What am I to do with this life? You know, and they're afraid to change anything about that. And that's where alcohol and weed come in. Is when
yeah.
those thoughts start stirring, when you start thinking like, yeah, this is not how I'm meant to live my life. People aren't supposed to live this way. You go, all right, well, now these thoughts are scaring me. It's time to get drunk. And then you just, you do it all again the next day. I've been there. you know,
Yeah, I'm
you
trying to
know,
figure out what your idea of that is really. It's like you wake up and every morning and do what you're supposed to be doing and told what to do and do this and that. And every day is mundane. Every day kind of sucks.
I guess there's that. I mean, there's a lot to be said about Like I think there is meaning to be found in the mundane and routine. Most of life is very mundane, and the big moments, like the big special times, are few and far between. So the idea of like trying to live life in that way, where it's like, you know, I want to have more and more. I want my whole life to be big special moments. Well, that it doesn't really work out that way. Like most of life is routine and habit and mundanity. It's just like finding that a version of that that brings you some sort of fulfillment. Because I think a lot of people, I mean, think about it, like especially in Texas, like so many people are living lives where they wake up early as fuck to drive an hour, hour and a half to get to a job they don't like, and then they sit there for hours and hours doing some shit they don't want to be doing just so they can survive, and then they drive an hour and a half back home, and then so now they have like some time to themselves at the end of the day, and it's like in those hours, that's kind of where it's like crunch time, where it's like, okay, I could be working on something to further myself and like the things I want to do, or I could put like a band-aid on this for the time being, which would be boozing, after a long day of work, crack open an ice cold one.
But
And then,
the boozing is what breaks up the monotony of it.
yeah, that's one way to like mitigate those feelings, is boozing. And then, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, um yeah, I guess that's what I'm getting at, is like, I think everybody, for a certain amount of time in your life, and it could be your entire life, is just doing some shit you don't want to do, and just kind of wandering aimlessly. And then there's a few people who get sick enough of that they try to actually like make some substantial change, and actually live the life they want to live. But I mean, that's so fucking tough, and it is scary. It's so uncertain. But I mean, I don't know. You get what I'm saying, though, right?
I get it, but like, how much fun do you think? Like, all right, I get that 100%, but there's another life you could live doing it. And how much fun do you think these fuck ups are having? The ones that aren't doing shit, they're just hanging out. They don't have a job.
That's not fun. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about like quit your job or anything like that.
No. But like the ones that really go for it, they don't have any responsibilities. You know,
Um,
they're just out there trying to hang out.
yeah, that's not fun. No, you have to have. You got to be do the adult. Because I've been there. You got, and that sucks. You have to do the adult thing and bite the bullet and do some shit you don't want to do for a little while. But I don't know, man. I think like the determining factor is like making a conscious decision, and having the willpower to start incrementally making the changes you want to make. Like, you have severe gout, which could easily be resolved by cutting out the red meat and maybe the boozing.
Boozing.
Yeah. Like that, like if I had gout, that would be like my priorities. Like, what do I got to do to fix this? It's like, okay, well, I can't have steaks anymore. That is a bummer. Steaks are delicious, but also having feet, I think, is better than eating steaks.
Right.
Uh, if that's my two options, is steaks or feet, I guess I'll go feet.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's the sacrifice you have to make. Because I mean, we all deal with like our versions of that. I think a lot of people do, because I dealt with that. Like, not anything like that, but the comparison I'm making is I dealt with that with substances, where after everything that happened with me, and I guess I guess you could say I have gout of the brain, where it's like, if I try to do the things that other people get to do, which is like drink and smoke weed and do mushrooms and acid, like all that kind of shit, you know, I'm back in the psych ward, or I'm in jail, or I'm dead. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it was like tough for me to wrap my head around. Like, okay, well, I guess the rest of my life is gonna have to be spent sober. It's just gonna have to. I have to be sober, and I can only hope that I'm never too sanctimonious and self-righteous about it. It's just a personal decision that I had to make for my own well-being, but I would never try to proselytize that to other people. It's just something.
Don't you say words. I don't know what they mean.
To like a missionary, like the way a missionary would try to get like an African village to convert to Christianity. So sober people tend to take on that sort of like religious fervor about their own sobriety, where they think because they went through all of what they went through and hit their rock bottom, and when they see other people having the fun they wish they could have, I guess it like awakens that insecurity and anxiety in them, and so rather than just allow people to do whatever the fuck they want to do, they start like demonizing these like other people's behavior, in the same way that a Christian would tell an African village that they're all going to burn in hell for not accepting Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I guess that's what I'm saying is that I had, me personally, individually, there's changes that I had to make, and there's changes still to be made if I am to improve my life and live the life I want. And change is scary, but it's like Rush. That's what Rush said in that big hit of theirs, Tom Sawyer. He knows changes aren't permanent. But changes. Boom, doom, doom, doom.
But yeah, I'm saying like changes in that way, but like to change who you are personally. Do you remember when we were both in Denton, just kind of carefree? We didn't really think about shit.
Yeah.
And then everybody in the comedy scene was like, "Vote for Hillary." It's like, dude, we don't.
Yeah, that was an interesting,
huh?
Yeah, that was an interesting time. 2016
like, dude,
was weird.
We didn't give a fuck, man. We were just trying to drink and go do stand up. And then there was this whole political thing, like that kind of stuff is what I'm talking about. When I say change, they want you to change. I don't know if I'm making much sense, but
no, I know what you mean. Well, I think that comes from the fact that like so many people just don't really even know what their own values are and don't have like a real foundation for themselves. And so they search for meaning and cling to these like things that they think are important to them that seem like this is like the thing that is to be changed, and this is like the important whatever, this is the item on the docket that we have to deal with next. And I don't, because like I remember at that time it was especially like people our age, we were apolitical. Like growing up as a teenager and as a young adult, it was like politics
never
was just
cared.
something nobody gave a shit. We did not care. And then it was like with that election, all of a sudden, like so many people our age started like really investing themselves into this thing. And I think that was like born from the fact that people's lives are just kind of like devoid of meaning these days. So if there's like this big event happening that you can like all of a sudden care about, then that that gives you like some sense of meaning, I guess. That's what it seems like.
And for the record, neither me nor Dalton voted.
We did not vote in that election. No.
But yeah, we just did acid. We had a good time.
We just did drugs. Yeah. I voted in the next election and I felt so stupid. I was like going into the voting booth like, man, I don't give a fuck about, like, I don't like anyone on this ballot. I don't give a fuck about this.
You vote for Biden?
Yeah. I was like, there was I guess I succumbed to the peer pressure because it was like you know, like any election, and I hadn't learned my lesson at that time. I was being told by all these people that we're talking about, like that kind of person, that it's like, yeah, this is the most important election of our lifetimes, and you know, it would be irresponsible and it's wrong of you if you don't like vote. You're like wasting your vote, and that's to lean toward the downfall of Western civilization if you don't go to this middle school and cast your ballot. so so
Right.
I walked over to the middle school and voted for Biden as I was told. And yeah, and in the years since, I'm like, I honestly, like, I'll probably never vote again. I didn't want to vote then, but my biggest regret now, seeing who Biden is and has been as president, it's like, man, I wish I just, if I'm gonna vote, I wish I'd voted for Trump. To be honest with
Oh
you,
hell yeah!
yeah,
But now, do you think your mind's clear to like make those like whatever you want to think yourself and not listen to other people about it?
yeah. I think
I feel like
you know,
that's what happens when you turn 30. You know.
yeah. I mean, you know, I don't tell people my age, so I'm not 30. I've not turned 30. I've not turned any age. Um,
I'm saying that you're in the age range now where you fucking, you know, like you can kind of think for yourself. You don't like other people can give you advice or whatever, but you're not as impressionable.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, and I've like been through my own shit and suffered in a way where I'm like, I'm at a point in my life now and moving forward where it's like I'm trying to focus on the things I can focus on
Yeah.
to improve in my own life and make a better life for myself, so that
Mm-hmm.
once I have a foundation for myself and I've built something to where I'm like stable and have like resources and all these other things, then I can like start trying to help other people in some way. But like, yeah, the idea of like being the person I was and the person I am now, and trying to also be some sort of like activist in any way or politically
Oh,
minded.
it's so gay.
It's so gay, and it's like I don't have like the wherewithal or the resources at this point in my life, and I never have, to help anyone else. Like, I got to help myself first, and it's not.
Right.
Yeah, and that's not like the Western hyper individualism that we're all like taught in this country. That's like, no, that's just survival for me. It's
That's
not
what's
like
the
I'm just.
craziest thing is why like the local stand-up comedy scene was so trapped up in this. And it's like, dude, most of you motherfuckers are still struggling, you know? Take care of
Yeah,
yourself first.
yeah. Well, I I think people are tribal. You know, like we have a society, like we have this like macro level of humanity that exists. But then if you, well, like, once you start zooming in on all this stuff, you start seeing like the tribes forming, because like people desire, I think, naturally a sense of community and belonging and togetherness, and nobody people aren't really getting that now because everything's so splintered, and so many people are existing on like the fringes of everything. And I, who knows, like, what the oh, where'd he go? We lost Kevin. Oh, the
No, I'm
hell.
back, bro.
um yeah, I mean, what I was saying is there's no longer any sort of like nuclear central anchor for the world we live in now. Like, and there's a lot of factors to that, probably like the media and technology are probably the big ones that have like pushed all, like, segregated all of us and pushed us all to our own like fringe uh insular civilizations that we exist in. And so I think whenever there's like these big events, like, I mean, we're seeing it now with Israel and Palestine. It's like now the tribes are forming around this event. And and so people are having this like desire to be have the right opinions, be on the right side of history, and be on the good people team. They want to be on the side of good, and so you're seeing it with that. But I mean that happens all the time. Like I think when you live in a world where any sort of like centralized value system has been stripped away and everybody is left to their own devices to determine their own values, um and kind of exist on these like splintered fringes. um you get what I'm saying. I'm having trouble like articulating this, but you get what I mean.
Yeah, I get what you mean, but I mean, I think there's people that don't deal with this. There's people way off the grid, and we probably think about it too much, just because
Maybe.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's there's a number of factors like how online someone like the thing is like if the real world is lacking for you, if like your interactions with the actual physical world and the people you interact with physically are to as such that you feel alienated in some way, you end up like retreating into cyberspace
Hmm.
online posting.
Right.
And that's like where so many people are now is like their actual physical lives, uh their like tangible corporeal existences uh feel meaningless, and so they go looking for meaning in this new world, this new realm of social media and the internet. And
Yeah.
so yeah, because I'm there now. Like I pretty much exist online right now. Like
Yeah.
my job is completely online. Like I work from home. Everything I do creatively and everything that I make to be like seen by other people is on the internet. Um, and so that's like it's like this weird thing that's happening where there's like two of me now. There's like the physical self, there's me that actually exists, and then there's like the digital phantom version of me, the shadow self of me that exists on the internet. Stuff like this, all the podcasts, the titty videos, my social media profiles. It's like this other self that I've created. Um so yeah, it's
And
tough.
then and
It's
then
a
you
tough.
talk to somebody like I would assume someone like Eric, your friend that passed, was probably so
He
disconnected from that. He was actually a
he
fucking normal person.
he had been offline since high school. He was extremely offline. He uh he was very anchored, yeah. Like he I remember in high school he made a conscious decision to just delete all of his social media and he never got back on. And his
Mhm.
whole life from that point forward was rooted in like just being human and like connecting with his family, his friends, his wife. Like he called everyone, like all of us that like we all went to high school together. He was the only one that he would call me, and he would call like every one of our friend group for years after high school. And unfortunately, we would all just ignore him. Like that's the biggest regret all of us have. Like anyone I
You
talk
know,
to that like all of my friend group that from that time that I still keep in touch with, we all talk about that. Like we all have that same story where it's like, yeah, he would call me all the time and I just would not pick up the phone. And we all have that like regret where it's like, man, how easy would it have been to just answer that call?
yeah.
Um, but
Well, I get that, but like, there's times where where someone calls you, you know it's going to be an hour phone call, and you're like, all right, I can't do it right now.
Yeah, there is that, but I think
But
yeah, I
that
don't
wasn't
know.
the point I was trying to make. I was just trying to say that was a dude that was just connected and like lived outside of all this bullshit that everyone cares about. And if you ignore it, it doesn't matter, you know?
Sure. Yeah, you can certainly not pay attention to it, and um he's a guy who was very diligent and hardworking, and I don't know if I would say lucky or he just was determined, but he was able to live a life that I think a lot of people don't get to anymore, where he landed himself a pretty good job as a tradesman, and had a wife, a house, and all this stuff. So he was very grounded. Like, he had a foundation, he had values, and I think so. Like, a lot of people nowadays are just lost. You not so much. Like, you stuck with your job, and we don't have to reveal all the. I'm not gonna fucking put your shit
You're
on
good.
blast, but you know, you did something similar. Like, you were
Yeah, but
like,
I still have to have this outlet to be like what I,
yeah.
if I don't have this, I go crazy,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's different strokes for different folks. Like, I think guys like us want to have some sort of outlet like this. And then there's other people like him and other people I know where it's like, yeah, they have their job, they have their careers they're committed to, and their families, but their outlet is whatever it is, hunting or fishing,
Yeah.
skeet shooting.
Yeah, I gotta be a shithead on the internet every once in a while.
Jesus Christ, dude, you're blowing up the microphone. That is so loud.
Sorry.
Yeah, like there's people who aren't necessarily trying to have any sort of creative outlet like this. Like, their outlet is something else, just some other thing, ride ATVs, motocross, probably like healthier choices than throwing yourself to the public, than trying to like present yourself to the audience, either at a comedy club or the audience here on the internet. um that's not healthy for anybody. That's not.
Yeah.
uh that's why, I mean, that's why, like, so many people in media and entertainment uh seem like they're fucking crazy, because they are,
Yeah.
because it's not a healthy thing to do, to constantly vie for the affections of so many strangers, to want to be the center of attention in this way. It is not natural. I mean, they say that, right? Like, most people's like biggest fear is public speaking, for a reason, because you're like subjecting yourself to criticism and ridicule, and becoming like an outcast, alienated. If you go on stage and bomb, you're irradiated at that point. Like, people are fucking mad at you. Um so yeah, it's definitely not like a natural thing to do. And so I think, like, yeah, you see people like really succeed at stuff like this and become like big public figures, and you want, it's like, oh, why does this person seem like they're out of their fucking mind now? And it's like, well, I mean, this is just not like a natural thing to do. Um so I don't know. It's just at the end of the day, it's a fun creative outlet, and if it works out, it's a good way to make some money, not really having to work too hard. Um, but yes, I'm looking at the chat now. Happy New Year, everybody. This is, what a fun New Year's discussion.
What are they saying? I can't see it.
Oh, you can't see the chat.
No.
Let's see. Some people want to call in. It looks like, I don't know. I don't know how to do that, but
We
that
can
might
call
be
them in.
that might be possible.
Oh, I can see the chat.
Yeah. let's see. Um, bifurcated. What about bifurcated and it's two split butt cheeks? I like that. Thank you, Jigglypuff. Um, what else? What else is in the chat? Sanders for life. No, fuck him. I mean, fuck politicians, especially career politicians like him. I mean, of the choices we had up until that point, he seemed like a good option. Like some real change might happen that benefits a lot of people. But I mean, at the end of the day, he was, kind of still self-serving, still a fucking like multimillionaire who, I think, had more than anything just has his own self-interest in mind. So fuck him. I don't look at any of these people as like deities. I don't deify any of them, and I don't know if there's anyone angling themselves as a politician that has that has the public's best interest at heart. They say they do, but then they get in office and they get all this fucking money and power, and then the truth is revealed. Um, you know, so that's why it's like all that political shit is just not even worth fucking paying attention to, because it's been made abundantly clear at this point that all of it's so fraudulent that the only thing you can really focus on is your own life and what you can change in your own individual existence. And then like the world around you, there's just so many forces at work, and so much like whatever's going on that you just can't do anything about, that like whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And then you just have to like try and take care of you and yours, and maybe be a good figure in your own community. So I guess that's my point. Right, Kevin?
I agree. Yeah, live your best life.
Yeah, live your best life, folks. Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have a wife and kids, I mean, literally just do whatever you want to do. Don't feel pressured to conform to what you think is you're supposed to be doing at any time. Certainly, if you want to have those things, go for it. And if you don't want those things, that's fine too. But do whatever you want, as long as you're not like committing violent crimes. Commit crimes for sure. Pirate things on the internet. Shoplift when you can. Jaywalk.
How do we get some of these fuckers on they can call in?
I don't know. Who wants to call in? How does that work? Let's see. Can people do that? I don't know. Let's see. Hold on. Who said they wanted to call in? Here we go. You know what? I'll just throw someone to the wolves. Ronan. Nope, it's not letting me. I don't know how to do that. Nope. Invite?
Mm-hmm. Invite.
No, yeah. No, I have to like directly invite someone. So I gotta copy the link and send it in an email. I don't think I could just like have. Can I do that?
You can send your email to daltonpruittshow@yahoo.com.
Yeah, folks, if you want to join in, go ahead and shoot an email to daltonpruittshow@yahoo.com, and then we'll send you the link, and we'll get some callers on the board. What were we talking about earlier? Yes, Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Yeah,
is now a free woman. And it's just
who falls for that though, dude.
Who falls for what?
That bitch right there, man. She threw that dude under the bus.
She didn't throw. No, do you know the story?
Yeah, I watched the whole series.
Yeah, she killed her mom.
Yeah, but like with an autistic dude that. Did
Yeah.
you not watch the series?
I think I saw some of it. I mean, I know the story. Like, she killed her mom, and the judge kind of went easy on her. Like, I think the judge was like, normally,
She got some. All right, so she got off easy, but she got someone else to kill her mom, and that dude's doing like life plus 25.
oh shit. Okay,
You didn't
that
know that?
sucks. Yeah, that sucks for him. Yeah, I like the thing with Gypsy is like, she's certainly an empathetic figure because like that mom was very abusive, and that's a whole fucked up situation. But you can see. Look, here's the thing. I'm not a mind hunter. I don't know I can't like get inside the mind of a killer and root around their psychology in that way. But I think you can see a lot in someone's eyes. And the pictures that I've seen of her since she's gotten released, just looking into her eyes, I think we're all just waiting until she kills again. It's coming.
Yeah, dude, she's just like her fucking mom.
Yeah, I think like probably like within the year, at some point in 2024, Gypsy Rose Blanchard will have blood on her hands once again, and will then do a life sentence in prison because she looks unhinged, like she looks crazy. And when I saw that story, like when she got out, and there was like this article that came out, this like headline that she had bought a ticket to the Chiefs game because she wanted to meet Taylor Swift. I was like, don't let this bitch in a room with Taylor Swift. She's going to kill Taylor Swift.
Oh, hey, I got somebody that wants to get in.
Yeah, let him in, I guess. Did you
I
send him
don't
the
know.
link?
Hold on. You have to do it. I have
Oh,
to say his email out loud.
Don't say his email out loud.
I have to.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Just message me the email.
Okay.
Just text it to me or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that now.
Okay.
It keeps going to my spam folder. I don't know why that.
Let's see here. Let's get some callers on the board.
Hold on. Sadukin.
Don't dox anybody. Did you send it to me?
I'm doing it now.
Okay. You said, are you texting it to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, folks.
He said, "Hi, I'm gay. Let me call in, or I'll cry."
Okay. Okay. I'll send it now. Oh shit. I'm on my fucking. Well, hold on. I gotta figure out how to do this because this is my email. I guess just please don't dox. Just please don't dox me, or do it. Whatever.
Well, why don't you do it on the?
I can't get into it. I've got the
Okay.
password, but hold on. Hold on. Because every time I try to get into the show email, it's set up for like 2-factor authentication. So I'll enter the password, and then it wants to send a text, but it goes to your phone. So that's why I can't. I don't have access to that email.
He said he won't dox you.
We run a tight ship. We run a tight ship here. Hold on. Let me see. I don't remember the password. Well, I've got it here somewhere. 1 sec. There we go.
He said he won't dox you.
Well, I'm already doing this.
Okay.
Hold on. This is good radio.
Yeah.
Okay. So it just sent the thing to your phone. Open it and click yes. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Just open that. Open the Yahoo notification. Click yes. iPhone 11. Damn, dude. I bet that battery don't last too long. All right. Yep. Nope. Still nope. Nothing yet.
God damn, just trust him.
You didn't get the notification?
I don't have the. Why is it on my It should be on my email.
It should just be a notification on your phone. Like open your phone and you should get a notification from Yahoo. And then you click yes to sign in.
Okay, hold on.
Did it go through?
Dalton, hold on. Talk about pussy or boobs or something.
Okay. I like pussy. I like boobs. They're both nice. I like it when the pussy's wet. That makes it easier to have sex when it's wet. If it's dry, it's difficult to have sex with a woman when her pussy's dry. So you want it wet. And it's funny. That's interesting because we talk about wet pussies a lot, but there's not a lot of mention of wet penises either, because your dick gets a little wet too. You know what I mean? Like if when you're jerking off.
Hey, send that thing again.
All right. But you know when you're jerking off and then your penis starts leaking, I think what is colloquially referred to as pre-cum. That's like a natural lubricant. You can actually rub your thumb over the head of your penis and then rub that all over your penis, that pre-cum, and kind of use that as a lubricant as you're jerking off. So your penis does get a little wet. Okay. Yep. There we go. But your penis certainly does not get as wet as a woman's pussy does. What it says? I don't know what the fuck. Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. I'm in. I've hacked into the mainframe. I wonder if this guy's still there. Okay, I'm sending it now. Let's see if this works. Okay. Somebody, are you pissing?
No.
Oh.
It's pouring my drink out.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I just sent the link to this person. Oh, another person wants to join in. All right, hold on. I'll send the link to him too. Looks like it's Ronan here. Boom, sent. I think we can have up to 6 people in the studio. So folks, if you're trying to call in, check your emails. Ronan and this other guy, and then just just follow the link and do what the StreamYard thing says, and we'll get some callers on the board. There we go. Jigglypuff's in here. Boom.
Yeah, I'm not actually a Pokemon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, what up, bro?
Okay. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, I'm spending New Year's alone, but it's good as far as it could be.
Damn. Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. You have a lot of gums.
Gums?
Yeah, dude. You have like a. Yeah. Look at that, folks. Look at these gums.
Yeah, that jaw. Yeah, it's. I used to think it was weak, and then I hit puberty.
Nice. What flavor? What is that vape? Is that disposable?
Yeah, it's peachy ice.
Nice.
My vape guy, the last two flavors I've bought, he's like some Indian guy. He's like, I'll buy more, but you should try these. And then he just keeps not buying my flavors, so I'll buy the other stuff, I guess. It's on back stock.
Cool. Hell yeah, dude. That's my go-to. Is if I go disposable for sure, and it's got to be ice. It's got to be something ice for sure. I don't fuck with them regular flavors. They hurt too much.
Yeah.
That ice makes it smooth.
Yeah, I smoked cigarettes for a long time, Newports, and then I guess the fiberglass isn't too good for your teeth, so I had to quit that.
Yeah. So I think cigarettes in general are ravage your body, but they're smoother than vapes. Like they go down easier than a
Yeah.
vape does. Like
You look like less of a pussy.
Yeah, you look like less of a pussy, and it's a more pleasant experience. Like a vape does like kind of hurt every time. You get used to it, but
Especially if you hit cotton.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you hit cotton, like you're working on a plantation. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, that's the weird thing about tobacco versus the alternatives is it's like, yeah, a cigarette is smoother than a vape, and then like actual snuff is smoother than what I'm doing right now, which is Zins. I got a Zin right here. These things fucking hurt.
Yeah, they'll like they'll like make you feel like you're having a stroke, kind of.
Yeah, your eyes start bulging out of your head and you're sweating, you get the hiccups. It's like I've never had any time I've dipped or used like tobacco, like a pouch or a dip or whatever. It's nothing like this is crazy what this does. And they're like, well, it's like a healthier alternative. I'm like, is it? Because it fucking hurts.
Yeah, it's like you compare mouth cancer to lung cancer, and I'd rather have lung cancer because at least you can't see it in the mirror. Whereas like you dip and do that shit, it's just gonna put sores in your lips and shit.
Yeah, and then you have to live with it. Like lung cancer, you're just dead. But with mouth cancer, they just carve your jaw out of your face, and then it's like, all right, well, cool. I look like a fucking one of the ghouls from Fallout for the rest of my life. The rest of my life, like, what's up, smooth skin?
I imagine you could get sympathy pussy off of lung cancer, but trying to like get a girl to fuck you while your mouth is rotting has to be a lot more of a challenge.
Oh my god, yeah. It's hard. It's hard for me to get pussy as is.
I know. I don't need weeping mouth sores on top of it.
Yeah. I've never been good at getting pussy, and I took to other pursuits to make up for it, and it did not pay off. So I got no answers for anybody.
Ronan.
Oh yeah, Ronan's also in here.
I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. Sounds kind of like you're in a big room, but yeah, we can hear you.
I feel like I should disclose my location. It's a small bathtub.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So what's up, Ronan? What are you getting into for New Year's Eve?
Honestly, nothing. I feel like Chinese food was the go-to. Some family time, but then staying up even till 12 a.m. nowadays, and I'm only in my 30s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just had a nice little J. Might eat some more Chinese food and call it an early night. Not sure. What are you gonna do?
I don't know. I'll have a J, but for me, that's just like I'm gonna jerk off.
Ejaculate.
Yeah. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of jerking off. I don't enjoy it anymore. It's not fun.
Going the mechanical route?
Mechanical? What do you mean?
It's the future, man.
Yeah,
What
it's
is
the future. I think Whitney Cummings had a thing where she had like bought her boyfriend like a sex bot, but I mean, when I said mechanical, I meant in a funny way. Like, I mean, I guess you could do it the vacuum cleaner way, but I mean, watch out, you could do something.
No, I'm pretty analog for the most part. Yeah, it's yeah,
That's
I'm much
not a OG, you know.
yeah, I'm a bit of a luddite when it comes to jerking off. You
When
know,
it comes to my cock, yeah.
yeah. When it comes to coming, like I used I did use a fleshlight years ago, like 2 or 3 times, and I didn't particularly enjoy it. I just was like, when you're jerking off with one, it's nice, but it, on either side of it is where it's like an issue because like the preparation and then the cleanup kind of makes it not worth it.
Was it prison style or like you went out and bought something?
No, it was an actual fleshlight. Yeah, it was a real actual fleshlight. Just I didn't like because whenever you jerk off and you're done, like you come, your brain chemistry is different. You're in post nut brain.
Yeah.
Clarity, yeah.
Yeah, and the last thing you want to do during the post nut window is chores.
Do you ever try?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way of putting it.
Do you ever have pre-nut clarity? You know what I mean? Like, so you're about to get there, and you're like, I've got to organize myself right now. Whether you're with a woman or not, you know what I mean? You almost like preface something.
Yeah.
Warning.
Yeah, well, I think pre-nut clarity, what you're talking about is like, what a lot of these manosphere guys talk about, like semen retention and nofap, like
Oh God.
holding on to that seminal energy provided by your balls and utilizing that to go out into the world and get shit done and get actual pussy.
You don't feel like the opposite is more true sometimes? You clear your mind, you've got the demon released, whatever some people would refer to it as, and you just kind of you can go about your business. In fact, you may have even more clarity because you're empty on that front.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's different for everybody because, like, in my life, like, anytime I've jerked off is so I could like stop being horny, so I could stop thinking about that shit. Like, I'm just trying to get it out of me so I can like do something.
Get ready in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I need to go to work.
Yeah,
I need to get this fucking hard dick out of here.
Yeah. It's like the reason I'm jerking off is not even necessarily because I'm trying to. I don't derive a lot of pleasure from it. It's just that being
hair gel. No.
Do what?
Your source of hair gel. I'm trying to.
The pear channel. What are you saying?
This is your hair gel. Something.
Oh, like there's something about Mary. Like
yeah, exactly.
Oh no, no, I'm not.
Gel. I've got to quickly fap it out.
No, I don't do that. I don't really use hair products ever. I just do shampoo and conditioner.
Your hair look really healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like shampoo and conditioner, like maybe like 2 or 3 times a week. So I just don't wash my hair every day, and so like the natural.
He's blessed with a good hairline.
Yeah, and I have good hair, and then like I just hold on to like natural oils rather than have to use like a lot of products. So I have like a healthier head of hair and a healthier scalp, and then like maybe like every other day or every 2 days I'll wash it because then it starts to get greasy and nasty if you go like longer than that, I guess. But yeah, I don't really use hair products ever.
I did the same thing with soap. It's like I either don't use it or I use this all natural like hemp soap that I found just because using regular soap would make my body break out. I guess it needed the oils or something.
Yeah, it dries you out, and all the shit in it, sulfates or whatever the fuck is in it, can
everything has aluminum.
All the aluminum microplastics. I mean, Yeah, I don't bathe every day. I very rarely brush my teeth. I stop shaving. Oh, you know what? I think I'm just depressed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
That's how you were getting over that shit, man.
I just have depression. Yeah.
You guys hear that guy Nick Avocado? He's a mukbang kind of eating dude.
Yes, Nikocado avocado. Yeah.
He mentioned
Yeah.
recently he now takes 2 baths a day because he's gained so much weight. And I really thought, like the larger I was, I'd actually clean myself more than I would when I was like skinnier. Now I feel like it's just, every day.
I thought he was losing weight. I thought he was like starting to lose it.
It's hard when your job is eating food.
He had a video where he said he lost 2 pounds, and to celebrate, he ate an enormous amount of Subway, more than 2 pounds of Subway.
Because
I can't watch that shit. Those mukbangs gross me out. I cannot watch them.
I
It's
haven't
so
gotten
gross.
do you think 2 baths would help if you can't reach your ass either time to wash it?
Yeah, I don't know.
What about
Because that guy's really fat.
Dude, I'm getting
He's
there.
kinda
I'm getting to that point where like I've had times where I try to go to wipe and I get like a cramp in my stomach and I have to like stand up and
That sucks.
Yeah.
just a small back spasm every time you reach around? That's terrible.
Dude, yeah, like I've gained so much weight that I'm like cramping up just trying to wipe my ass and I'm like, well, this is not good.
That's probably how Elvis went out.
Yeah. Yeah, being fat sucks. It's just yeah, it's one of the symptoms, I guess, of being like dealing with like debilitating depression is you just start like not moving and gaining weight. Because that was the thing is like during the all the like manic shit I was dealing with, I was very active. Like I got skinny.
Totally.
And then yeah,
running from the government satellites.
yes, exactly. And yeah, I was skinny. I was like very flexible and limber. Like I was stretching and doing yoga every day. And then when that was over, I went into sort of the coma I was in, and then it was like I just ballooned up, and now I'm coming out of that, and I finally have enough energy to do podcasting. And it's just step by, it's incremental. It's just every day I try to do a little bit more and more. Because I don't really eat a lot like during the day. I'm just too sedentary. That's always been my my weakness is not moving as much as I should, because I've never like been crazy about food. Like I love eating. I love food. I love eating junk food for sure, but I don't like overdo it.
Yeah, I hear you. Eating late at night is bad too. Cause like I'm like naturally skinny, but when I'm not working out and I'm just eating, I get skinny fat where I look like an African child that's starving. I just have like a big pudge, and then everything else is bones.
Oh yeah,
Which
you're like vitamin K deficient. You have that like
yeah,
distended
I look
belly.
like a mutant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll
that's
happen.
what happens if I'm like eating sugar late at night.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird.
drinking.
Like it's weird. Like there's like two ends of the spectrum of being like unhealthy, where like there's people that are skinny that are unhealthy and people that are fat that are unhealthy, and they're both hideous in their own way. You know what I mean? Like they're both they both have like when you see a guy who's like really really skinny, it's equally as unattractive as a guy who's really really fat, and both of those people end up having to date fat girls.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say is like, and it's funny in those like 600-pound life, it's always some skinny guy, and you can tell they get along really well because neither of them works out or takes care of themselves at all.
Yeah.
The skinny guy just doesn't get fat from not doing it.
Yeah, because that was like when I was
Even
when I was in high school, like all the guys that were like that were just like naturally skinny but not healthy. they all of them ended up like getting in long-term relationships with like fat chicks.
And not like thick, but like fat chicks. Like,
Yeah, like goth BBWs. Yes.
yes, yeah, alt girls, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a great big pillow.
Yeah. And some of them are like married now. Like one of the like skater kids I went to high school with who was like that, like he ended up marrying like a big fat girl like that, a goth BBW.
Nice.
So what is this, Kevin? Are you
Yep.
trying to show us a mukbang? Ew. Ew.
Oh my god!
Gross.
I don't
Hell
know where
yeah.
they got that sofa.
That's dude, this is worse than the casting couch.
Oh yeah. That I'd rather buy the casting couch and put it in my living room than that one.
Yeah.
It'd probably
I'd rather-
smell better.
Going to that.
Oh my god. Yeah, this is gross. This is like usually what like portends the end of a civilization. Is this kind of gluttony?
How many views does it have?
A
Millions.
bunch, dude.
Oh man.
Dude, I've said this before. Like
3.4 million.
Yeah, these kinds of YouTubers, like the the internet and YouTube and all that is like such a specific thing. Like shit like this and like YouTuber type content. I don't think there's anybody that's pursuing a career in more traditional versions of media, like comedians and stuff, that have cracked the code on this kind of thing. Like these kinds of accounts always have like millions of subscribers. Whereas like, I'm sure there's like a lot of people here who are probably like big fans of Louis Gomez, Jay. And I think his YouTube channel doesn't even have 100,000 subscribers. So yeah, YouTube is a very interesting place because dude, there's all these comedians that like will bust their asses to record a special to put on their YouTube channel. And they'd be lucky if they get a fraction of what a weekly upload from this guy gets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's real strange. Like, how is this the lowest common denominator? Like, this is the thing most people have in common is they want to watch these people eat stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Because I'm pretty basic. I like some pop music and stuff like that. But this is like, how is this such a common thing amongst people to want to watch this?
yeah, I don't know.
I feel
It's
it's a
just-
little bit like ASMR, isn't it? Like it's like, oh, I'm just shoveling a whole plate until it's totally gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
You ever eaten a lot of food and just it was its own marathon? Maybe you're kind of nostalgically, shooting off the same. It's like a mirror neuron thing. I see a monkey eat a banana, and the same neurons go off in my brain.
Maybe.
I've heard that like people that get lap bands and stuff will watch these videos when they want to eat a lot so they can just remember how good it was that time they ate 3 cheeseburgers and a chili cheese fry all at the same time.
I totally heard you say lap dance for a second there. I was like, okay, I'm following. All right.
Yeah, and I
My
think
favorite video. Go ahead.
well, I think there's like also like with stuff like this, there's like the verite quality of it where it's like seemingly like real life, like you're in the room with them. It's an more intimate experience, and there's also like a passive thing to it where you could just hit play on this and have it playing, and you don't have to like invest too much of yourself in it or really focus on it.
You can miss 5 minutes of that video to go, do some chores or something.
Yeah, so that who knows? It's just like with the who knows? Like these new markets pop up, like this thing that didn't exist before all of a sudden exists, and it turns out there's like a huge demand for it, and maybe there's no rhyme or reason. and people just organically discover that this is something that millions of people want to watch.
Maybe
I don't know.
the community too. You know, we were talking about earlier. People like they need that sense of community, but you know, food brings us together. Quite
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there's also that. Like, you know, if you're living like in like isolated life, which a lot of people are now, like working in an office or working from home, and like your day to day existence is like a lot of your human interaction exists online. Then this is like a bringing together of people is this guy, because it goes beyond just this. Like the Nikocado Avocado soap opera, it exists beyond just these videos, because like I know of this guy, like I have like followed some of this stuff, and in his journey doing this kind of thing, and getting fat as shit, and being gay with his husband there, he has lost his fucking mind. And so there's
Yeah.
also, yeah, so there's also a community around that of people that are concerned about him, that are checking in to make sure he's okay, and then the trolls who
That one will see him freak out.
yeah, who encourage him to continue. So now it's like this you know, this feedback interaction that he now has with the community, where yeah, he's grateful for the people that care about him, and he's spurred on to continue his own destruction by the trolls. And so I think
these two dudes right here fuck each other.
yeah, these two fellows do have gay sex, presumably.
That's
yes.
so gross.
It's a
Yeah,
very
dude.
easy situation, though, right? So it just mashes together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you
so
imagine the smell of that room after they're
Yeah.
done? What that
Yeah,
smells like?
let's close that out. That's so gross.
Getting slightly
But yeah, it's that kind of thing, and you know, I think a lot of people in here probably experience it with podcasting. Is like that sort of like parasocial thing that starts to happen, where in a lot of people's own lives, they may not have like rewarding, fulfilling friendships or connections with other people. And so they start to invest a lot of themselves in like their favorite media figures, podcasters, comedians, whatever it may be, and have like developed this like weird detached relationship with those people.
like a deep personal connection that has no real.
Yeah. Because I used to have it to a degree. Like I used to like lurk on the like Cumtown subreddit, but I never posted there.
I thought you were going
And
to say Aaron Feehan's OnlyFans, but yeah.
No, I've looked at some of the leaks, but I've never paid for that. No. And her body's not that good. It's fine, but it's like
Oh.
she ain't winning any awards.
Yeah.
Who's?
Yeah.
I've met her in a green room a few times, and I've always been impressed by how small she is. It's kind of crazy.
She is very tiny. A spinner, as they're called.
Spinners.
Yeah.
I always that meant like a Jewish small person, but no.
Yeah, but no, she has small tits and she has kind of like white girl pancake ass. It's whatever.
Tried to do more squats. I feel like it's developed somewhat.
Yeah, but I mean, according to her, she's rich. She says it all the fucking time, which is very, you know, that's what the people want, is someone to flaunt their wealth. But
I'm glad she found a way, you know.
yeah, but I remember being like early 20s in Texas, trying to find my way, and I was listening to all these different podcasts, and I would like lurk on the Cumtown subreddit, and I was like listening to that show a lot, and I was kind of always kind of aware in the back of my mind that my consumption of this show and the way I was like whatever investment I had in it, there was a part of me that felt like this seems unhealthy to know this much about people I've never met, and to be invested in this in this way. But I would
Yeah,
go
to have most of the have most of the people you're talking to be anonymous to you?
Yeah, I never interacted with anyone on that subreddit. I would just go on there and look at shit, and I would like scroll through the comment sections and see what other like these other people like what their relationship with the show was like, and they were like heavily invested, and were you know it came across like just really odd to me the what they were putting into this really stupid podcast and how much they gave a shit about Nick, Adam, and Stav's lives.
Yeah, it was real gossip magazine type of vibes where, like, you'd see those magazines at the grocery store back in the day, and it'd be like, you know, so and so broke up, or did this actress lose 10 pounds, or like, can you believe that they got into an argument outside of a restaurant? And it's just like, damn, there are people out there that pay literally to read these magazines and have this weird, God, whatever that TV show was, but this like parasocial relationship with celebrities that they will never meet.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right, and like the Insider and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Nick Selden's released a sex tape, except it's Nick Mullen. No one wants to see that.
And that definitely still. Wait, what?
No one wants to see Nick Mullen do like a Heath Ledger remake.
No, I don't want to see. What you mean, like die from an overdose?
No, there's a Brokeback Mountain reference hidden.
Oh, okay. Have gay sex.
Because more because it's
no, I don't pay much attention to any of those guys anymore. Like ever since the actual show even before the show ended, I kind of stopped like really following it, and then nowadays,
pretty good.
Yeah, nowadays I don't really pay much attention to what they're up to. I mean, I saw that dumb thing that went on the internet today that like Stav was at the Ravens game doing that hack character he does. I mean, whatever, good for him. Get the money. The sort of like parasocial connections that people have with celebrities and even people who aren't necessarily celebrities, like podcasters. Yeah, that's there's a lot of that now. I mean, you see, the big one now is like Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. How do you say his name? Kelce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of people are like heavily invested in that relationship. As though they're the ones in the relationship.
What's there to know in those kind of like situations? Like, what are they like? I mean, with Brad and Angelina and Jennifer Aniston, it was all about some, and people weren't heavily invested in it, but they knew about it just because whatever.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess that's the industry now. The industry exists now beyond the entertainment itself. Like there used to be a curtain, and there was this expression, to get a peek behind the curtain. And so like back in the day, like Hollywood and like that, the whole entertainment industry existed behind the curtain, and any sort of like pulling back of the curtain that existed was curated. So whatever you saw into these people's personal lives was what was deemed acceptable for you to see, like what they would do on like a Carson appearance or something like that. But there weren't like tabloids and podcasts and social media and all that kind of stuff. And then like as the years went on, the curtain got pulled back more and more and more to where now there's no curtain, and now like the actual industry itself, the actual entertainment that's being created is only like an aspect of it. It's not even like the main. It's not necessarily even the main focus. It's also like who are these people? Is who are these people, and what are their personalities? What are their like lives like? This like proliferation of like paparazzi and all these like long form interviews and like getting a more intimate look into their lives. That's like
Jada and Will.
yeah, Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. Who's another one? Ariana Grande and that fucking the SpongeBob guy, the Broadway SpongeBob guy.
Hey, y'all have fun on here. I gotta go, bro.
Oh, you got to bounce. All right.
What we got the regular show recording tomorrow with Sal.
Yes. All right. Goodbye, Kevin. What was I saying though? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So it's like
Ariana Grande and the
the SpongeBob. So like the I guess like the entertainment industry itself, from like the top down, from major celebrities all the way down to comedians and podcasters and OnlyFans girls and all that, those lives and the relationships they have in their own personal lives have like supplicated the lives and relationships
Content itself.
well, it's like as those things are lacking in so many people's like personal lives, they turn to the lives of like all these other people to pay attention to and become invested in, because they don't necessarily have that in their own life now, because like so many people are alienated and isolated and struggling to survive as well. I mean, the economic factors certainly play a part. Like, if you can't fucking afford to do anything, to like go out and actually have fun and meet people, if you're just like struggling to survive, what do you have? Well, you have an internet connection and you can log on and consume all this shit for free at home. And I guess that serves as sort of like temporary panacea for your own lack of those things in your own life that's
I
causing
guess
you
that makes
distress.
sense because you can't block people in real life. I guess without a restraining order, but
Yeah,
if someone's mean online, you can block them if you don't want to see them. Like, you can control that a lot more than like people at your workplace or going out to a bar. Like, you can't just silence someone who's being too loud at a bar for the rest of the night, like you could if it was online and someone was annoying you. So that
yeah,
probably plays into
you
it.
can curate your experience, and it doesn't cost anything. Like, you don't have to go anywhere, and you get to have this sort of like like simulacrum of
Nice.
actually existing, because you can't. There's so few people that can actually exist now in the way that they're supposed to, or that would bring them like any sense of meaning or fulfillment.
I was watching an interview, Japanese guy talking about life in Tokyo and just like the cost of living, and people talking about the economy getting weaker, but really it's more so just other economies growing really rapidly and Japan's not picking up as much as it needs to. But you're talking about, cost of living, like inflation, countries like Argentina, Japan, etc. Like they definitely struggle to like lifestyles. You know what I mean? Like, you can go on the internet for free and
Yeah,
temporary little euphoria, whatever, or community, etc. But in real life, you're not able to afford it at all. And because you're not able to actually cultivate that social connection, it's just you're more drawn in anyway. This is like, I try my best to actually get out there and do something. I'm not playing soccer at a local community center, but I wish. It's snowing also, and it's Canada, so few people.
yeah,
You're not allowed to be around children.
Yeah, that's true. That's
yeah. can't
my
can't go to the library.
They keep kicking me out.
No,
oh,
possible. I stand out immediately, and you just got to keep that 500 feet.
let's see. Oh, we got a troll in the chat. JB, what did he say? I love DP's constant contradictions. Don't watch people as he begs for viewers and money, health, and woman advice from a morbidly obese, broke, lonely, homeless man with a thesaurus. Okay, well, first off, the thesaurus.
I love the thesaurus.
The thesaurus thing as an insult is interesting to me because you're. I've said this. I might have said this somewhere before, but the thesaurus you're taught to use in school. It is like a valuable tool to expand one's vocabulary, and language is very important. That's how we all communicate with each other and how we understand the world around us. Is through language, and
You don't need to consult a thesaurus in order to increase your vocabulary or vernacular. But sometimes
but
one word you can't.
That's the other thing is I don't use a thesaurus. I do.
Read.
I read, and yeah. As I'm reading, if I come across whether it's reading or talking to someone or whatever, if I come across a word I don't know, I make some effort to learn it and figure out like what the definition is and how it's used. And if I like the word and the way it sounds and what it is, I'll start working it into my own vocabulary. So I can see where if someone is using a thesaurus to just make themselves sound smarter than they are, if it's a contrivance, then I can understand that argument. Because I get that feeling from like anytime I watch like Jordan B. Peterson and he's using a bunch of silver dollar words, it's like, well, you're like obfuscating the fact that what you're saying, the things you're saying are pretty fundamental and not necessarily like groundbreaking ideas. And you're making like all these like deep philosophical ass thoughts that you're trying to espouse to people seem like more than they really are. With me, it's just I just like language and having fun with words, but I don't try to position myself as being like a scholar or like smart as hell. It's just just having fun with words. Now, as far as like contradicting myself, well, that's just human nature. We have the life we live and the life we want, and the rational and irrational parts of us. So sure, I am one to contradict myself. What's the old expression? Do as I say, not as I do.
Also, didn't you actually say you don't have advice to offer her when it comes to like getting pussy?
I don't have advice. I don't have advice to offer anybody for anything. I just like talking.
Exactly.
Like having
this guy's saying you do.
Yeah, I just like having conversations with people, and I don't say don't watch. And by the way, I don't say not to watch people. I just understand the psychology of like why people invest themselves in the other people's lives, like people that exist as media figures online and just in other forms of media. But who would I be to try and tell people not to consume those things? Because I do consume those things in a similar fashion, and I am to some degree one of those people that exist as an internet personality, and I would like more viewers. So it's not begging, it's selling. I'm selling myself and selling what I have to offer, and because I believe there's value in what I do. So it's not begging. I'm not on the street begging you for your fucking attention and money. I'm saying that what I do, whether it's these live streams or the podcast, the Patreon, the titty videos, these are valuable things that I work on, and I'm selling them to people because yes, I want the viewers, I want the money from them, but it's not like I'm asking for a handout. I'm creating something of value. So,
I really thought when you said thesaurus, you were going to like lift up a Bible and say, "All my words are from this here." And
there's only one book you need, and that's the good book.
There's only one book you need right here, and that's the good book.
I thought that was Old Man in the Sea because of the cover. I couldn't tell.
Squatopotamus is asking, can he super chat? Not yet. I'm working on it.
You're close.
Let me check. Excuse me. Sorry.
24.
So let me look at the numbers. So on the channel, yep, not so you gotta have at least 1,000 subscribers, and I've already cleared the hours watched. So don't even worry about that. But I have 924 subscribers right now. I need 76 more subscribers, and then we're looking at super chats. So right now, I just I do these pro bono. You know, it's a community effort, bringing people together, talking to the people. You know, I'm the people's champ.
Kobe.
Why do you think it's 1,000? Do you think like the cartel was moving money through YouTube super chats to launder
I
it?
think it's whatever research they did. I think they landed on 1,000 is just like the barrier of entry, so that people actually like work on their channels and consistently create things.
The barrier of entry. That's what she said. Hey,
yes. Yeah, I think they just have it set up to where not just anybody can hop on YouTube and start making money. You do have to put in a little elbow grease, which is what I'm doing for sure, and trying to do it, doing it the way that I know how to do things, because I don't have. I'm not Mr. Beast. I'm not Meat Canyon. The skills I have, I would love to be Meat
I'm
Canyon.
sorry, I don't know what Meat Canyon is, but that just sounds like a pussy.
Dog, go when we're done with this, whenever that is, y'all got to go check out Meat Canyon. One of my favorite YouTubers. He actually announced today he's like kind of moving away from this, but for the last like several years, he's been doing these like fucked up cartoons. They're like parodies of either other cartoons or like news stories, and they are funny but mostly extremely unsettling. Like it's very strange to watch. They're very horrific, but I can't stop watching. I love them. It's one of the coolest shit. Some of the coolest shit I've seen on YouTube is Meat Canyon.
I'll probably check it out. I always liked Salad Fingers and that guy's stuff back in the day.
It's in that same like spirit. It's like the natural evolution of Salad Fingers is Meat Canyon.
I've heard of neither of these things, and I love food, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Meat
Can't believe you haven't seen Salad Fingers. That stuff is that was huge back in the day.
I don't know how old you are, Ronan, but yeah, when I was in high school, Salad Fingers was big. And I think who was it? I think it's Primus at their live shows. Will display like Salad Fingers on the screen behind them for some songs.
34, and no idea. None of those words made sense to me.
Okay. Yeah.
You have a journey to go on tonight.
Yeah, Jigglypuff does. But yeah, Meat Canyon, the first Meat Canyon thing I saw was he did a 2-parter, this like Ed and Eddie parody, where I don't want to spoil it, but it's like Ed and Eddie getting their revenge on the neighborhood.
Oh wow.
It's so fucked up. It's so good. And yeah, he's got a Garfield one, and lately he's been doing like topical shit. So he did a Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce one. He did an XQC cartoon. And it's all this like really fucked up, unsettling animation, and it's But he announced today he's like moving away from that and focusing more on like his original shit and his podcasting and all that. Yeah, he rocks. But yeah, what I was saying is like, as far as me is like, well, I don't have those. I don't know how to animate anything. I barely know how to use a computer. So it's like my skills really are just in like writing and orating and performing. And so that was sort of like the thesis of like starting the titty videos was like, I was paying attention to, I guess, like the market that exists in terms of reaction videos, and I just was like, has anybody done like titty reactions? Has anybody done that? Because there's so many of these e-girls or whatever. They're just like, showing them off to promote their
Actually
OnlyFans.
begging for attention.
Yeah, because they're trying to sell like OnlyFans subscriptions or whatever. We're all trying to secure the bag, and
I
and
find
so
those
I just
videos a little too stimulating. I'll be honest. I turn away. I cover my eyes.
I
yeah,
go pray.
yeah. So I
I'm
just
blush and I'm brown, so it's just like more brown.
yeah. So I just had the thought like, well, I mean, like these images and these like TikToks and all that stuff are so provocative and like attention grabbing that it's like just the titties themselves, like this woman will get people's attention, and then like what they're actually watching is me expound and pontificate on titties, and then we go on whatever journey we go on in each video, because it's more than just titties. The videos themselves, especially as it goes on and I have to think of new things to say. The titties are just a springboard for something else to happen.
Yeah, like that one video from a few days ago where you just started talking about how the tits reminded you of a girl's tits in high school. You started talking about the loss of innocence as you become from a young
Yeah.
adult to a man, and then you
Yeah.
were like, so that's what these titties remind me
Yeah,
of.
like a shaggy dog, sort of like just taking people on a long road through this and be like, yeah, so that's what these tits are like. And so
Consumerism, that's what they remind me of.
yeah. And so I've gotten more subscribers and followers from that, and I guess I'll keep doing those as another thing to do. And it's worked out. I'm not going to reveal too much, but this is big news. A couple of the women, because like that's been the cool thing, is like the women in those videos, a lot of them have been like flattered by them. Like they like them and they'll share them and be like, I'm screaming right now. They'll say shit like that. Because it's not like, I'm consciously like just not trying to objectify them. I don't, to explain a joke. The joke is how in depth and like thoughtful it is and how much care I'm putting into this. And so I think they find it like flattering that I'm doing this. And so we got some things coming down the pike, folks. A couple of the women that have been featured in some titty videos are coming on the podcast in the coming weeks.
Whoa.
Hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
call it a poon cast.
Yeah, we're doing a little stern. We're interviewing pornographers, but I don't want to. I certainly don't want to do that shit. Like I'm excited to talk to them, but I don't want to like do that shock jock radio thing that so many people are doing, where it's just hammering them about
Like that Adam 22 that's like, what's the most amount of dicks you've ever sucked at once?
Yeah, exactly, that kind of shit. Or that one dude, I fucking can't stand that one guy, that whatever podcast where he just invites these OnlyFans girls on to like condemn them, and he's very like, he's so antagonistic toward them. And
Who, the 10 Books kid?
no, that podcast, what it's called, Whatever, and it's that round table where it's like a guy sitting on one end of the table, and then there's like a harem of OnlyFans girls sitting on the other side.
Okay.
And he's just like grilling them, like, so what's your body count? Why do you do porn? Like, just attacking them about
what does your father think of this?
Yeah, exactly. And like he's coming at them as like this Puritan, to like, I guess, like straighten these women out. And I was like, no, I'm definitely don't want to do that. But I don't want to like. That's the thing is like, I think anyone, even porn stars, even OnlyFans girls and porn stars are more dynamic than just their job. Even if their job happens to be sucking and fucking, there's more things to talk about than that. And that's why I think like so many of these interviews with porn stars just fucking suck, because whoever's interviewing them is just so giddy about the fact that they're in porn, and they just can't get off of that subject. It's like, so is squirting real? It's like, who cares? It's piss. It's fine. It's piss. I ain't complaining.
Yeah, like, do you really want to know?
Yeah.
Even?
Yeah, it's like it's more than likely it's probably mostly piss. It's like, is that a deal breaker? Is that even okay? Let's say squirting's not piss; it's some mystery fluid. Doesn't that seem kind of worse?
That's
We don't
funny.
even know. It's some like there's like this other pussy bladder squirting some like the fucking dinosaur.
Girl cum, yeah.
Yeah, like the dinosaur in Jurassic Park that kills Newman.
I,
You know
I
what I
don't.
mean?
I don't think anybody's trying to destigmatize piss right now, right? But I mean, it. I remember reading a study about it because I'm okay from like the medical point of view, just like in terms of percentages about concentration or contents. And it's like, who gives a fuck? But yeah,
Well, I
literally.
don't want to.
But I don't know. I think you should ask one of your the meat and mystique. I don't know what Machi said in the chat.
Meat and mystique. That's one of my, slow catchphrases. I guess it's one of my criteria on the rubric for titties. Yes, we do need to talk about what they get at the Cheesecake Factory. See, now we're talking. Now these are interview questions. What do you get at the Cheesecake Factory?
Oh,
that's what
How
I'm
many
gonna
cheesecake factories have you been to?
Yeah.
you know what? Get 2 cheesecakes first of all, and make sure one of them is a New York style because you can't go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we're being if I'm being honest, we lost Jigglypuff. If I'm being honest, the best cheesecake is just a plain cheesecake.
I agree.
Yeah, you start adding on all this raspberry and Reese's and Oreos, like all this other shit. It's a hat on a hat. It's too much.
There was a Southern girl. She got me, dude, with like a tray of that cheesecake Oreo, and I'd never had Oreo cheesecake before. I'd made cheesecake before. You know how what is it called? Philadelphia cream cheese has that recipe on it. It's just delicious cream cheesecake, whatever. You know what I mean? Anyway, this girl got me. She made me a tray and invited me over. And next thing I knew, I was half comatose and getting. Anyway.
Yeah.
It was good cheesecake though, and I left in the morning with the
Jigglypuff. You're muted. Hold on.
Sorry.
There we go.
That was me. Sorry.
It was like a non-look of shame because you got this whole tray of Oreo cheesecake, dude. It was so delicious.
Yeah, the best cheesecake I've ever had. The oldest Italian bakery in New York is on 11th Street. It's called Venero's, and their plain New York style is probably my favorite. And right behind that, they also have what's called like an Italian style that's made. I think it's made with ricotta instead of. So it's less sweet, but it's more fluffy and airy. It's really good.
I have an Italian bakery that's near me. I think we all do. They're everywhere, but it's called Onde Cheese. It's not a shout out. They're like anyway. It doesn't matter. Point is, they do cheesecake. You can get like pizzas. Blah blah blah. I love doing the doo joke. But anyway, cheesecake. They do a cheesecake. I think they have a bit of ricotta in there. Feels lighter, fluffier, not as sweet.
Hell yeah.
Use cheesecake though. That's
my sister made like a tray of those Oreo cheesecake ball things, but she let the cheese sit out for too long and it spoiled and she didn't know it. And she ate like she ate like 3 or 4 of them and then went to see Avatar 3D in the theaters and just like hurled all over the floor of a movie theater just spoiled cream cheese and cookies and just like ran out of there. That always made me laugh so hard. You just ruined somebody that's getting paid like $8 an hour entire night because you let cream cheese sit out for an entire day and a half.
Yeah,
Bailey's cream cheese balls, like cheesecake balls, whatever it's called. You stick them in the freezer, and then you coat them afterwards and like they're delicious, dude. That is number 3. on the list of cheesecake balls.
Right. Cheesecake balls, yeah.
Balls. I mean, you can't go wrong with 2 cheesecake balls in your mouth at the same time.
Have you ever had that like Japanese cheesecake? That's good.
Ooh, yeah. Super
That's
fluffy. Super
very fluffy.
Very.
Gabriel Iglesias fluffy.
Yeah, definitely. You know what?
Um,
Gabriel Iglesias, Japanese cheesecake. Yeah, he's the cheesecake of comedians.
he is, yeah.
The sumo Japanese fluffer.
Dude, I love Gabriel Iglesias.
I do too. So funny. Love his joke.
He's amazing, yeah.
Awareness. He looks beautiful. I want to eat with him because I know he knows what tastes good. And I've been closer to his like proportions, I want to say. I've never been as big as he could be. I don't think I have the frame to support it even. Like I'd have to reach a new state of matter or something like physics.
Yeah. Yeah, he rocks. He's good.
And he is.
There's a reason he plays arenas and flies on private jets. And yeah, JB's trolling in the chat again. Squirting advice from you two, hilarious. This is a comedy podcast. Hold on. I want to make something clear that I've like recontextualized everything in terms of like what I do when it comes to broadcasting. I wouldn't say that anything I do these days is necessarily a comedy podcast. Most of this, like this live stream, has not been funny. It's not been like a comedy show. It's just been thoughtful, I suppose. I just try to make things that are interesting in some way, but I don't approach anything trying to do like necessarily a comedy show because it's contrived and like to force funny in that way is more cringe to me than just like flowing and having an open and honest discussion about something. And then and that's my philosophy with comedy anyway, is like build a foundation first, just like start with the truth and then build on top of that to figure out what's funny. So the comedy arises organically from that. That's like how I think of things. So it's like a bottom up, like building a house. Whereas I think a lot of people approach it top down, where they're just trying to be funny, and then nothing is ever actually said.
I think their explanation of what the S word is in the chat. So I mean, it is at least educational to some degree,
Well, yeah, and that was the other thing I want to touch on. We're not offering squirting advice.
For sure.
Yeah, we didn't say this is what you do to make the girl squirt. I know, I'm a pussy hound. Listen to me.
Yeah, at no point have I
techniques, tried and true methods that make some women.
Yeah, and at no point have I made the claim that I know how to make a woman come, and I would never try to.
I feel like you do.
Maybe.
I'd never besmirch my reputation by saying that I had either.
Yeah. Look, there's a chance that I have done that.
The beard looks.
It's Schrodinger's orgasm, because it's like either she did achieve climax or she faked it. Either way, I had fun, and that's what matters to me.
Put in the effort. It has value. That's the point.
Yeah, I tried. I gave it the old college try for sure, but the jury's out on whether or not it worked. She made noises and writhed around in the bed, and I was like, well, she seemed, at least she's putting in the effort to act like she's enjoying this. I can't be sure if she's really into this or if she's thinking about the next guy she's gonna fuck later. But in this moment,
I just wanted to point out that you said Schrodinger's pussy when Schrodinger's box would still have worked.
Schrodinger's, honestly, I said Schrodinger's orgasm. Schrodinger's box still.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in the parable is Schrodinger's cat, so we're all off base, honestly.
Yeah.
But Schrodinger's box would be more applicable because the cat is in a box in the thought experiment.
I like Schrodinger's orgasm. That does make sense.
It makes sense, right? She came, she didn't came. They both happen. You know,
That's the real challenging. That's what we really need to forget about. Like Schrodinger he wants you to make him, it's like he's trying to sound complicated. He's not complicated.
Yeah.
He killed that. He's
the
just
thought experiment.
that cat.
Yeah, the thought experiment metaphysically, she has both come and not come.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And you don't know until you ask her, and you just don't ask her.
You just don't ask.
She's
Yeah.
alone in her closet with another toy, and you weren't even there. So, do you know if a tree fell in the forest?
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
Did that guy fuck your girlfriend? You weren't even there.
Yeah. If a woman has sex with me, did she actually come? We'll never know.
She said she got off. You just don't know by who or what.
Yeah. I mean, her pussy was wet, but she might have been thinking about something else during.
Maybe
it could have been a sad moment, and she used natural, lubricant.
Yeah. So to answer to respond to JB's other comment, where he said, "I bet you, both of you have only ever seen a woman come on screen." There's a chance that that's true. But I have certainly had sex with women, and in the moment, it appeared as though they had come. So I don't, who knows? But did I come? Yes.
Nice. You get a receipt for that. You get a receipt for that.
Yeah, I have busted inside, and that feels good.
That is nice.
Yeah.
Nope, I don't.
Are there any baby Daltons out there?
No. And if there are, her visa was up. She's across the pond at this point.
Tijuana.
Yeah, so she ain't coming for me. I'll tell you that much.
You have to subscribe to my podcast first.
She said she had an IUD. By the way, this particular one I'm talking about did admit that she has never achieved an orgasm during sex with anybody. So honestly, I don't think I made that woman come. But she was happy to be there. She was more than willing and enthusiastic about getting me there. And I busted all over her stomach, and then I busted inside of her. And then and then we had sex, and I was too hungover, and I did not. Neither one of us came that time.
That's still nice. It's
about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah, exactly.
The boat off, as far as it floats, it's pretty nice. It's a nice ride.
Yeah. I mean, in that moment, she was lucky that I was able to get hard because I was so fucking hungover. I was struggling. Yeah. But I guess to JB's point, yeah, we're not pussy hounds. We don't know. I can't speak for Jigglypuff and Ronan, but I say from my perspective personally, no, I would never. I don't have the hubris nor the acumen to offer any sort of advice or impart skills onto people as to how to make a woman achieve orgasm. We're just philosophizing over here.
I don't. My only advice: be British. You know what I mean? Or Prince Harry or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's no advice. Learn French.
Yeah. Do what?
Learn French. Maybe
learn French. Eat pussy in French. I don't know.
Just to get being a hunter out there.
Yeah, I'm trying to lick.
You spell out the Greek alphabet on her pussy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing the Arabic alphabet on her pussy.
Do Russian. Same alphabet. Just a tongue, I guess. More aggressive.
I'm going jihad on the pussy.
Yeah. I'm going Indian because it has all the dots that I'm just like Morse coding her vagina to say, please come. My neck is getting tired.
Yeah, it smells bad.
Spices. Paprika is from Hungary.
Yeah, I think more people need to be open about the fact that sex overall is a disgusting, awkward experience, and it's certainly very intimate. But I think a lot of people probably in sexual encounters are it's a lot of performance, but
50 Shades of Grey on that. Definitely towards the Not always is it so intimate. Sometimes it's just like a animalistic urge kind of.
Yeah, but it's just to
It can
being there with another person and having sex with them. It's like, yeah, you're trying to figure some shit out, and it's all the bodily fluids. It's a fucking petri dish, and it's
feel like shower therefore is the cleanest sex you can have, as opposed to the ocean, which is the dirtiest.
wait, what?
So if you're in the shower, you're pretty clean.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, shower sex is not it's just not that good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had a girlfriend in high school who was like really sexually inexperienced, and whenever we started hooking up, she the first time we didn't have any sound going, she like made me stop and put on music because the sounds of like her pussy and our flesh slapping and stuff, she was like, this sounds gross. I need to like hear
You put
something
on-
else while we're
you
doing this.
you put
Yeah.
on the song from those Six Flags commercials, the
Da, 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 da.
Should you start in the hot towel, dude? Had a nice shower.
yeah.
The shower thing was more about cleanliness. You know what I mean? Like, let's
Yeah.
long day at work.
Yeah, it's nice to shower with a lady, but to incorporate sex in the shower is very cumbersome.
A little overrated.
Yeah.
3 times a day, it's just exhausting. Like, yeah, you can do it, but even if you don't, like, you were saying you're hungover, whatever. Even if you work, it's 3 times is a lot of. It's a lot of rubbing. Oh man,
Yeah.
a little tired.
Yeah, and just in general, like I find that it's easier for me to actually finish alone. Like if I'm with a woman, I got it's like driving a car. You're thinking about so many different things at once.
Oh
You got to be
goddamn.
focused, and so it's difficult for me in that moment to actually be in the moment and achieve climax. Whereas if I'm by myself, I have one singular mission, which is get this nut out of me, and I can do like a sub 5 minute jerk easy.
I
Whereas
really
if I'm
feel like a lot of women will empathize with your specific like struggle there, because that's exactly what it's like, right? Like you gotta tune out all the other stuff and just get there.
yeah, but I don't do anything like these days. I live the life of I live a monastic scholarly existence. I'm reading, I'm working, I'm just rebuilding physically, spiritually, financially, all of that, and pussy is kind of on the back burner these days. But it'll come. It'll come.
Necessary. Sometimes, it can be quite demanding and distracting.
Yeah.
Involved.
It's the downfall of so many people because they get a little piece of pussy, maybe they saddle up into a relationship and they lose sight of the things they actually want in life because in the immediacy, in the immediate moment, they have this like comfort with this other person, and years pass, and now they're married with kids and doing all this other shit, and they don't it's not until later in life that they realize, oh, I haven't actually achieved any of the things I wanted to because of pussy.
Trying to achieve.
Yeah, there are men who like only get a decent job and make money and drive a good car so that they can get pussy, and it's like I don't really want to call them a loser or anything, but it is weird to me to define your success around how many like women you can fuck when it's like you don't even like enjoy your job and the car almost makes you destitute every month, making sure it and the insurance are paid and shit like that. And it's just like be who you want to be, and the pussy will come. You like defining your whole existence around whether or not you get it is like, I don't know, kind of childish, I guess.
Dude, so many people live their beyond pussy. So many people live their lives to impress and please other people. I guess that's what we learn watching Fight Club.
Ferrari. the Ferrari guy also has to deal with, possibly STDs and other things. Some
Yeah.
just want to
There's
get a woman.
there's very few people who are actually like trying to live for themselves. Like they succumb to whatever the pressures or environment or like whatever is around them, and they're just like doing things to try and attract other people to them. And then they hit this ceiling where it's like, all right, well, now I'm in a position where it's like, yeah, I got a girlfriend and kids, and I'm making like $80,000 a year, and I just don't have the means or the time or the ability to like pursue anything else. So now I'm just stuck doing this bullshit. Whereas like, if you just don't do any of that, you can have all the ups and downs imaginable, but it's like you're not anchored to this other thing, these other people. So it's like whatever. I still have all the fucking time on my hands to build the life I want to build. Yeah, but that's very, I guess it's just a different form of selfishness, because I mean, isn't it kind of inherently selfish anyway to want to get married and procreate, like to multiply oneself in that way? It's necessary for the species, yes, but there is like a selfishness to it, like this element of self-preservation.
Or it's like idiocracy, and like we're being all like averagely intelligent, if not whatever. But
Yeah, I
everybody
mean,
less than that is just like
dude,
it on.
I disagree, but I get where you're coming from with like, oh, you just want a legacy or your name to carry on and stuff. But I'm kind of, because I used to be super against having kids, but like, I don't know, I guess I want to tell you my life story. I like had a nephew and I really like spending time with him. And it's just like, oh,
Teach
you can like create more happiness in the world by creating more people, as long as you just make sure you provide them with the ability to like be happy.
oh yeah,
So,
I would love to have kids. Like that seems like the coolest thing in the world, but I think it's something that a lot of people would be better served doing when they are for sure like certain that there's not going to be too much like struggle and suffering.
Yeah, they're stable enough, and like they
Yeah,
have.
because there's so
that's
many
true.
people. There's so many people who are like starting families when they're just not ready,
Yep.
and like all these like economic and like endemic, if that's the right word. I mean, whatever these issues that people are facing,
Socioeconomic.
um,
Yes.
yeah, like these socioeconomic issues that people are facing, like these low income families. It's like, yeah, there should be social services in place. There should be more services in place that help people like that. But so I'm not like saying it's their fault that they're in that situation, but also if you're low income, why are you starting a family? Why are you doing this to yourself and to these children? Why are you like bringing people
It's
into an existence that they're behind the eight ball immediately?
Oof.
well, it's fucked up, but it's because you can immediately get um like I think like 4K back on your taxes if you have a kid.
Yeah, there's a lot
Like
of.
you'll just get 4K on your tax return. You
Or like
don't
a TV?
and yeah, yeah. But that I mean, I'm from Mississippi, so it's like there's a lot of poverty to be had, and that is sadly a reason why some people have kids is because you can get more. I know for the military, you get 30,000 a year if you're single, but if you're married, you get 60,000. So there's just a lot of 18, 19-year-old dudes getting married. Pussy with no condom feels good, so they knock her up, and then like 15 years later, they don't have any fucking money because the army didn't help them out with anything, and they've got 3 or 4 kids and a wife that never worked or did anything because she was riding high for the first few years while the military was paying for everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
that's like,
mean, that's the thing is that there's just enough. I guess there's like just enough services in place that help people, and then puts them in a position to where they're like completely fucked later on down the line.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Socialism is such a curse word, such a scary word for this world in the West. But I think this, especially now, this country would benefit from some sort of like reemergence of, I guess, like what FDR started with the New Deal and introducing like elements of socialism into our economic system and political system. It's just like, we're so like hyper capitalist now and hyper individualistic that even people that would stand to benefit from these things that need them are indoctrinated to not want them, to be like against these sorts of things. Um, yeah, that's weird. People have told me before, and I'm not trying to. I'm not Chapo here, so I'm not like knowledgeable about this, and I'm wary of talking too much about leftist and capitalism and socialism and all that. But I've thought about it. I'm talking to people about this, and then people have made this argument before that like capitalism is just human nature. That like whatever we are as humans are the only thing we're capable of, like, is this like version of things is capitalism. And it's like, well, this didn't always exist. There was an economic system that existed prior to this that I think people assumed was just human nature. And then when that ended, when that collapsed, and then this new thing came along, which is what we're in now, it's like, well, I mean, everything's fine. We adapted, and it probably went well for a number of years, and now it's like collapsing again. And so it's like something else will come along, and then it's like, oh, I guess everything's fine.
In villages in Africa, right? Like they don't really have that possessiveness, or like, I mean, neither do they have the structure for capitalism either. But like in a Western society or whatever, Eastern European, whatever, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what society, there can always be like, some like within communism, socialism, even it's like those examples we've got in the world aren't exactly really what, it's not Marxism in works. It's kind of more like stupid in works, but like 9% are clearly below the poverty line, but 1% aren't.
Yeah. It's, I'm not too, I guess I need to read more on all this. I'm not like terribly knowledgeable about it. It's just like,
honestly, like, I'm
Hold
not
on,
really pro capitalism or socialism, but my kind of thing is I'm always weary of big changes in our system because we're one of three superpowers, and like China and Russia look like much worse places to live than America, and so does India, which is like an up and coming superpower. And I know they all have different systems and stuff. So anyone who talks about big sweeping changes in the country, I'm like
yeah,
worried
I
about
mean,
that
I
person. You
guess
know what I mean? Because there's like
ideally,
15 million people in Denmark and there's 325 million in this country. So the fact that like being like, do what they do in Denmark, it's like there's more people in California than there are in Denmark. I don't think it's going to work for
yeah,
our country.
I don't
Number
even
one.
know if big sweeping changes are feasible. Like, I don't know if that's even possible. Like, things would have to happen incrementally, I imagine.
Yeah, because Bernie was trying a lot and they gave him the axe. Like they threw him under the bus and spit on him.
Yeah,
Regardless
so
of whether or not you agreed with him, he was trying to do big things and nobody let it happen.
yeah, he won over hearts and minds because it seemed like, oh, here's somebody who's coming along and like offering something different that actually does seem like it's going to benefit everybody.
Somebody who seems genuine, yeah, earnestly helping, blah blah blah.
Who?
Somebody who seems earnest or genuine, like
yes,
believe in him, like another Obama but lighter and from Vermont.
Ernest saves America.
There you go. That's a what up, Vern? Anyway,
the troll is back.
It's the right and the left.
What did he say?
That's the
Who
problem.
who do you think pays for social programs?
Burn
Guys that make $ money and pay taxes. All right, well, taxes is socialism. That is like a social service. Everybody pays their taxes, and the idea is that your tax dollars go toward community efforts and social programs and things that would benefit the actual citizens of the country you live in. The issue is, what you're not recognizing here is that we're all paying taxes, and that money is not benefiting us. It's not going toward us. It's going toward like foreign involvement, like these like foreign policies where like the fucking president just bypassed Congress and is going to send like like $175 billion to Israel worth of like ammunition and shit like that. So that's what your tax dollars are going toward, are the social programs for other fucking countries. Whereas like in a just system within this country, people would work. I assume, JB, you have a job. You at least talk a big game like you do.
You can't assume that he pays taxes, though. That's why I was like, guys that make money. Nope, just people who pay taxes.
Yeah, just honestly, people who make real money don't pay taxes.
Yep.
People that pay taxes are like the middle and working class.
They tax.
Yeah, and so like that, but most of that money is not going toward what we're told it's supposed to go toward. Like, they paint this one picture for us that this is the way the system works and this is how the country operates, and that's what they campaign on. That's their platforms. And we all know it's fucking fraudulent anyway. We have no choice in the matter. And so we're all paying these taxes just so we don't go to fucking jail. And then we're made to witness our money that's being taken from us go toward some other bullshit to help people in other countries to fund like their wars, and so like, and there's so many people in this country that have been propagandized and indoctrinated into believing that any element of socialism that is introduced within this country that would benefit its own citizens is like a negative, because there's no such thing as a free lunch, sweetheart. You pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We all have to fucking work. You don't work, you don't eat. But it's like, no, actually in this country, a lot of the times you do work and you still don't eat, because your fucking money is being taken from you and feeding people elsewhere. So
yeah, there's a period where I was working, and like I was working at a Papa John's and doing DoorDash, and I was making like about $800 a week in the area I lived in, and I was still living out of my car.
Damn.
Because places like I had bad credit, so places wouldn't let me move in, even though I'm making 3 times the fucking rent. Like I still, like I'm making more money than I ever have in my life at the time, anyways, $800 a week, and I like still can't afford to live. Is like wild. It's definitely not a sign of a functioning system.
Yeah, and and that's another thing is like, if anything goes wrong in your life that like can fuck up, like you have something go bad and you lose your ass, your credit's fucked up, and you're still like on the other side of it, you're still making an effort to rebuild and like make money or whatever. You have this fucking scarlet letter on you, and you get no help. Like there's no safety net in place for anybody.
I feel like we could move to Ukraine.
Yeah, you would be better served at this point to just immigrate to Ukraine, and then you would finally receive the American social services that that could be going to us. And Seabass in the chat said, the U.S. has given billions to Israel for decades. Yeah, it's like psychological warfare on us, because they tell us like all the reasons that life in this country is either fucked up, or they tell us it's good when we know it's fucked up, and so we're being fed that message. And then at the same time, they're also telling us, and also we're going to send fighter jets and ammunition, all like billions of dollars worth of shit to these other countries. But the economy here is doing great, even though homelessness is on the rise and nobody can afford a house anymore. They tell us like it's actually going really well right now.
Yeah,
So
like the amount of jet fuel it costs so that, the Blue Angels can fly over a football game is in the like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, there's literally homeless people outside of the stadium where this display of American fortitude is going on.
yeah,
Is there
yeah,
a way to hire the homeless to do the same routine somehow? Like they do it on the field, acting out as if they're jets. So
well,
you take
I
the
think
money.
that Pop-Tart was a homeless guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think that was just a homeless guy that they gave a few bucks to do the Pop-Tart bowl.
We excluded one jet and all the fuel. We used it to make this outfit, and we're gonna give you.
Yeah, and not only that, we're also like witnessing that there's an effort now from every company and corporation and innovator to continue like industrializing and developing new technologies for the purpose of eliminating human labor. So like they're like actively trying to get rid of everyone's jobs but at the same time not offer any help to anybody. So you're creating something that in a more ideal world would be a net good, where it's like the elimination of the need for humans to struggle and suffer and do this hard labor. In a system that actually like worked and benefited the people that exist within it, these like technological developments would be a good thing. It's like, oh, cool, I don't have to like work at McDonald's anymore, drive a truck, and I can like do something else or collect a UBI check or whatever. But it's like, no, actually, we're gonna get rid of the job, and then you're just fucked. So the computer's gonna do your job, and also, but you still have to like figure out a way to collect an income to survive. But we're not gonna help you with that.
Yeah,
So,
the computer does your job. The guy who makes money off the job lives in Israel, and the computer was built in China. Like,
yeah.
like you're just shut out of this system completely.
Yeah, you're sure. Yeah, and it's like, and the only reason anyone is doing these jobs is so they can like get like have an income so they can pay their bills and survive. Nobody's doing them because it's like, oh, this is just out of the benevolence of my spirit that I want to make Big Macs all day or like whatever the job is. It's purely from a place of survival. So if you like eliminate the need for that person to be there, but they still the parameters are still in place in which they have to survive. Well, they can't. There's no like now you've just created a new homeless person by doing this, and then all the
I think
people with fake email jobs, the only people who can actually like thrive right now, who contribute nothing really, who make all the money. Now they can still afford the Big Mac that's made by the computer, whereas the person that was making the Big Mac is begging them for money now on the street. That's
I think
me.
that's part of why people like Elon Musk and stuff talk so much about overpopulation, which I don't think is actually even a real thing.
No, it's
It's just
not.
so that
It's not.
yeah,
No,
it's
they
just so
say
that they
that.
have less hungry mouths to feed whenever
Yeah,
nobody works for Tesla except for Elon Musk. He just wants less hungry mouths on his conscience.
yeah. They say shit like that because whether they realize it or not, they've been corrupted by greed and power, and they don't want like the idea of anything that challenges that is they just can't contend with that. So rather than like face the reality of the situation, which is that no, there's no overpopulation. It's just that you're sitting on a hoard of wealth and lording over it like a fucking like Smaug the dragon. You're the fuck. You've turned yourself into this like monstrous villain, but you don't even realize that. You think you're actually like benefiting mankind, and in like whatever mental gymnastics you've done to like convince yourself that you're on the righteous path. It's that no, the real issue is there's just too many people. You know, that's the problem. Is the overpopulation. And that's actually why I'm focusing on going to Mars or whatever, you know, like whatever they're doing, you know, it's yeah, no, I don't buy into that overpopulation shit.
There
That
seems to be a lot less people in the world as is. I mean, like, I think China's population is aging, getting to the point where it's like, they're going to get smaller by the day kind of thing.
yeah.
And India may keep growing in numbers, but even them, I'm going to think they're going to, people aren't even being able to be as fertile as they used to be anymore. Like me, some of the farmers' daughters, sure.
No, yeah, people don't even want to have sex anymore. It's like, fuck
They're
it.
like,
I'll just like stay at home and play video games and just like not deal with all this shit.
It's true. Prison fleshlights. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like everything. The world around us is to some degree collapsing, and you know, I think like at a certain, whether it happens within our lifetimes or not, yeah, there'll be a fucking day of reckoning for all of this, and shit's gonna go fucking belly up, and then like, you know, they're gonna have to turn over the soil and figure something else out. You know, I'm not smart enough to know what that looks like or what's going to happen, but yeah, the whole the situation we're in as it is completely untenable. Yeah, JB, I want to say something. You know, I appreciate you engaging with the show. This all helps the algorithm for sure, but I do want to say something, JB. You're a fucking moron. You're an absolute fucking ignoramus, and you're negative, and you're a troll. And
I like changing tires.
Do what?
I do like changing tires. It's not that hard.
Yeah, I can change a flat tire. I can change a flat tire, JB. And I'm not saying I want. Yeah, but hold on. You know what? I'm not even saying I want something for nothing. But why would that be a bad thing? Why would that if everything is in place to where my labor is not even fucking needed, nor is anyone else's. If the technology's advanced to a point where there's no necessity for fucking human labor, at that point, why would something for nothing be a bad thing? Because no one has to actually do anything for everything to continue to like sustain itself and develop, because then everything is being done by a fucking computer. So like, why would it be wrong to then, like, if that's the world we live in, then why would it then be wrong to get something for nothing? You know what I mean? Like, in I think like that mindset exists because it's had to up until this point. That's the only world we've ever known, is one in which man is made to toil and struggle and sacrifice and bust his ass to build something and collect income and all of that. And so, yeah, there's no handouts in this life. That's been the only fucking life anyone's ever known. Well, that's changing now. We're like, now there's like a drastic shift happening in the world around us and the lives that we're living, where like more and more things are being automated and the need for human labor is being phased out to the point where there's like so many people now working jobs where they actually don't do anything. Like, they have a job, they're on a payroll, and they might answer like 3 emails in a day, so they're not contributing anything effectively. Like, considering what their actual like labor output is, they kind of are receiving something for nothing. They just have to be on the clock for 8 hours, but they're not fucking doing anything.
They didn't grow any food. They just ate the food. They just ate 3 meals that day. They didn't grow any of that food. Like,
yeah, some company sent them a laptop. They have a laptop, and they wake up 5 minutes before it's time to clock in. They open the laptop, do a Zoom meeting for a few minutes, answer some emails, and then within a day, they probably do maybe at most 3 hours of actual labor, but it's not anything. It's just a placeholder. It's completely fucking made up. and it's like not contributing anything to anyone, but it exists because it has to, you know. But there like so many
You get
jobs now.
something. You get something for nothing in this society too. Like you go to school, which is, not worth much these days, but like you get a guaranteed free education, you get water. Like, yeah, you have to go turn it on and prove you live there, but like, man, you can put off paying the water bill for so fucking long and it's so cheap anyways. Like the amount of time it would take you to like go pull water from the river and bring it back to your house and boil it so it's clean to bathe yourself in is like insane. Like you get basically like you don't have to put anything in to get all this effort that comes out of giving you clean water out of your faucet. So it's like, I don't necessarily see why the free healthcare you get until the day you're 18, the free Medicare you get, wouldn't just extend to most people. Like you already get plenty of something for nothing in this society, and school is not the worst problem America has. Like water functioning is not the worst problem America has. So it's not like something for nothing is going to be the end of everything.
I don't know that G-Bean or whatever JB stands for. Maybe it's just nothing for nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you get out of it, really? Well, I mean, what does anybody get out of anything then?
Yeah.
And what is anybody getting out of it? It's just a good conversation. That
Well,
people,
it looks like JB kind of is starting to get to that because what his next question is, then what's the point of you? Well, there's no point. There's no point of me or anybody. Look, the world around us, the universe as it is, like all of this is completely indifferent, and there's no inherent meaning to any of it. Each of our lives, if you want to think of it this way, are completely fucking meaningless. But that doesn't mean that they have to be. We create our own meaning within our lives. So like we create the like structure and parameters and narrative of our own lives that give them meaning. But intrinsically, no, there's no fucking point to any of my life or what I'm doing.
Contrarily, like, what if like we were supposed to tell him, hey man, you should look out Nietzsche and just read that. And this was like, his big moment in life, and he was really supposed to hear those words. Have you heard Frank or whatever?
Yeah, I guess what I'm actually describing is like actual Nietzschean nihilism, which is not this idea that I think a lot of people think it is, which is like this belief in nothing, that there's that there is no meaning. It's that you reckon with the meaninglessness of everything, and from that there's this sort of enlightenment in which you then create your own meaning. So me in doing this live stream, the podcast, the titty videos, everything I'm doing is creating my own reality, is creating my own fucking meaning. Because otherwise, yeah, there is none. And on a macro, larger cosmic scale, there's none for any of us. From me all the way up to Elon Musk, it's all fucking pointless. But we imbue all of these things with meaning, individually and collectively. That's where the point of me comes in, the point of you, and the point of everybody.
Well, humans aren't like wrenches where they're made to like fit a certain size and their whole job is to turn something one of two ways. It's like your parents didn't make you like the way a factory makes a wrench, where they're like, he's going to do this one very specific thing and that's all he's going to do and that's all he's going to be able to do. It's like there's not a point to us because it's not like a project you start, like a movie, or like, when you start building a table, where like the point of me building this table is to have a table that functions. It's like, your parents either made you through like random chance or like an unfortunate accident, or it was on purpose, or just because they wanted to, like I said earlier, create something that was capable of experiencing the happiness in the world. Being like, well, there's no point to any of us. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean it's worthless. Like that's such a strange way to think of something.
Those jobs, those kind of cookie cutter like life, it does drive you insane. Like Seabass is saying, like he's done those do nothing corporate welfare jobs, drove him insane because the monotony, simplicity. You get good at your job, then what? Then you're just bored
Yeah.
the fuck out of your mind for like.
It's Office Space. I mean, remember Office Space? He had
Right,
a
right.
job like that, and then like at the end of the movie, he was happier working construction.
Which
You
is
know,
that I was going to mention that AI hasn't completely replaced construction yet, and maybe that's what Egyptians figured out. They're like, well, the human body is a very efficient little machine. We give it some beer and maybe a loaf of bread and make it move some rocks or chant some special frequency that makes the rocks levitate. I don't know what kind of wizardry that may have occurred in the Egyptian times. But you know what I mean? Like, so Elon finds a bunch of robots that he can become the Grand Chancellor of the new Star Wars kind of. Come to me, my pretties. I don't know. So
Yeah, I
then
saw
so
somebody
some combination
say
of Emperor Palpatine and the Wicked Witch of the West.
exactly. Yeah. Come to me, my pretties. You'll serve me to the dark side.
Robert has a point. Subscribe to the $25 tier to receive the Fraternal Order of Corn-Fed decal. That's the point.
That's a true title in life you should have.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you can be
that.
Sir in Scotland, but
Yeah,
why not be part of the Royal Order of Corn-Fed?
the Royal Order. That's the Royal Order of Corn-Fed. Subscribe to the $25 tier, and then 3 months later get the So it's $75 altogether. You'll get the decal, and then you're officially a member of the Royal Order of Corn-Fed. That's the point. That's the whole
if
point of
you pay for the $50 tier, you get to be the Duke of the cornfield, as it turns out.
You get to be the Duke of the Corn Fiefdom.
Oh, you're a colonel.
We're, the Billionaire Podcast Network, ka-ching, bing, 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 did fill her up, is the only feudalist podcast network out there. So, I'm the monarch, I'm the king, and then I'm appointing the dukes of the vassals within the podcast sphere.
Feudalism, nihilism,
Yeah.
Nat, Bug. Remember that Uncle Buck movie where he's got the axe in the back of the truck and he's it's sharp enough to circumcise a gnat, and he's like, wait a second, your name is Bug. Nat, Bug. Anyway, never mind.
Oh yeah, I love Uncle Buck.
Great movie.
Good movie. Yeah, and that might be where things are headed. Is like a return to feudalism. I've looked into that, and it might be that as like whatever we're in collapses, as it's collapsing around us, we're existing. We're going to exist in another sort of feudalist state, a la or not Allah the deity, but just Allah.
Allah.
Allah, yeah. Like Dune, like in Dune, where it's like that society thousands of years in the future has returned to feudalism. So even though they have all this technology and spaceships and shit, it's a feudalistic structure where it's like lords and dukes and kings and emperors and sword fights and shit like that, but in space.
There's a bunch of people that I'm sure if Amazon took a cut of their pay to give them an apartment that was, built onto the Amazon warehouse center, like I'm sure plenty of people would take that. Like
that's bleak, dude. That is feudalism. That's fucking bleak.
That's feudalism because Jeff Bezos would own it all. He'd own your land and he'd own your job and all the labor from it, and all the money. And
wasn't that was in that movie? Sorry to Bother You. That was like a plot in that movie. Was that you didn't see that it was a movie. It came out a few years ago. It's got Lakeith Stanfield in it. It's made by that. He's a rapper. His name is Boots Riley.
I'm definitely gonna want.
Yeah, and he it was his first movie, and he's like an outspoken communist, and so it was this movie about like the this cautionary tale about capitalism, and in the movie there's this like plot that if you're hard up, if you're struggling to make it, you can, like live. You can go live in a company warehouse or whatever. Like you and your family can just go live on this company property, and you just work there your entire life and exist like within this like a community of that is this corporation. So I think that I think you see that in that movie, like what you're talking about, like this sort of like corporate subsidized housing, where people essentially become like indentured servants to some like corporation, is in that movie.
Sorry to bother.
Yeah, sorry to bother you. It's pretty good. It takes a weird fucking left turn in the third act that I don't think anyone saw coming. I went to the theater to see it, and in the third act of that movie, I was like, well, this is certainly not where I thought this was headed. But it's fun.
Yeah, third acts are hard.
Yeah. Well, it was just that there. I don't want to spoil anything. There might have been foreshadowing I missed or anything leading to this, but it came so out of left field that I was like, oh, I have no idea what this is now. This is crazy. But I didn't hate the movie. I thought it was pretty good. And it was a good parable about how capitalism can corrupt, as the main character, the protagonist grows in wealth and power as a telemarketer. Yeah, I think that, and they have this funny like running joke in it that because he's a black guy trying to do like phone sales, but he sounds too black on the phone. So Danny Glover plays like the old head in the office that's trying to tell him like, man, you gotta use your white voice. And so this running joke in the movie is that the black people have white voices on the phone, and so Lakeith Stanfield's character, his white voice is Patton Oswalt.
Funny.
Yeah, so that's
Man,
fun.
what I thought was crazy, like speaking of movies, I was listening to one of your episodes and you were talking about the guy that directed John Dies at the End. He directed some other movies
Don Coscarelli is his name, and
yeah.
he directed the Phantasm movies.
Yeah,
So,
those movies. Yeah. See, I remember watching Beastmaster when I was really young, and then I found John Dies at the End on its own because I really loved the book. And like had no idea those two were the same guy directing it, or even that like
yeah,
the guy would still be alive. To be honest, because Beastmaster and Phantasm was like the '80s, wasn't it?
Phantasm was like 79, the
Yeah.
first one. He also
I thought.
he also directed a really good episode of Masters of Horror called Incident on and Off a Mountain Road, and it also features his longtime collaborator Angus Scrimm, the actor who plays the tall man in Phantasm and the main antagonist in John Dies at the End. That like
Oh,
the
okay.
tall
The skinny guy or the fat guy?
the tall old guy, the tall old skinny
Okay.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah. That's who I figured. Okay.
yeah, because
Yeah,
he plays the main villain in Phantasm, the tall man, Jebediah Morningside, and so he always worked with Coscarelli on shit. He died in like 2016, I think. So they had at least got to make a fifth Phantasm, which is not that good. But I watched it because I love those movies.
Hey, do you guys know what Corral Castle is? Or you ever heard of this thing?
I don't know what Coral Castle is.
True.
I could look that up.
Hey, in terms of stand-up, do you still you're still working on material and like possibly coming to stage?
I'm plotting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, I guess like what I went through was like pretty life threatening and just kind of laid me out on my ass just in life. And I was in a bit of a coma for a while. Not necessarily a coma, but something resembling that. And my faculties are back now. It was a long road to get to this point. So I'm just like rebuilding my life. Like, yeah, outside of all this, I do actually have a job. I do have a sales job. So I'm like developing that skill set and working on that because with sales jobs, you stand to make a pretty good chunk of money. They don't pay for shit base salary. It's like being a waiter where it's like your base is fucking dog shit, but the commission structure is like, yeah, you could easily start making six figures within like the first 6 months.
Speaking of sales, you know who has a podcast that you never would have thought had a podcast that just shows the market's really oversaturated?
Who?
It's the Wolf of Wall Street guy, the Jordan Belfort.
I would have guessed he had a podcast. That makes sense.
He has a I mean, it's not bad. He did an episode with Grant Cardone where he was just like talking shit on Grant Cardone.
Fucking Christ, dude. I hate both of these guys. Like,
I know, but it was so funny to see the Wolf of Wall Street guy who like went to prison for fucking, fraud or whatever it wound up being, looking at Grant Cardone and just kind of being like, "You're full of shit."
Yeah. Well, I will say, here's where capitalism rocks. Is did somebody fart? Was that a fart?
Sounded that one me?
It sounded like a hefty fart.
Was that a whisper of the Ronin?
I don't think it was. I
the
wish.
Not so silent samurai.
Unless I'm completely numb back there. No, I don't think it was me. No.
Okay, sound like a fart. But I will say, and here's where capitalism rocks: is it within the realm of sales. As despicable as those guys are, Jordan Belfort and Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, like all these kind of like hucksters, like the charlatan types, you can learn a lot from listening to guys like that and talking to salespeople who have that kind of mind and doing sales, and like doing that job. If you get good at it, dude, it's like truly like infinite possibilities. It's crazy, like the money that is to be made in this like really stupid job that really can only exist within this like system that we're in. A job of just like talking to people on the phone and schmoozing and like winning them over enough that they're willing to like hand you money for something they didn't even want to buy to begin with. It's such a like really strange skill set that can be very rewarding. And Lewis is right about that, where it's like that skill set definitely can benefit you if you're trying to do anything in comedy or the media, because it all goes hand in hand. Yeah. Doing shit like this is endless. It's just endless sales.
Except you're just selling yourself instead of like a product, and you believe a lot more than you probably did any other.
Yeah, you're just selling yourself. But I do think there's a lot to learn from sales guys, because like those skills are just transferable in all aspects of life. Like the ability to
even
talk
for
to
an
people.
Interview for a different job that isn't sales related, you can like pump yourself up and make yourself more like what they're looking for, even if it's not.
Yeah, you can learn all these like tricks and skills to move up in the world or get like whatever job you want. Like that's the cool thing about working sales, is it's so transferable. You could just bounce around jobs. I never understand it when I like in any sales job I've had, the people that have been there for decades. I'm like, I would have gotten the fuck out of here years ago. I'd have done this, stacked my resume, get the points on my KPIs or whatever on my resume, and gone and like started moving around different companies, because like they're all set up with like commission structures. So if you can sell, if you're good at it, you'll make just as much money as you were making before, if not more, at like whatever other company you want to go to. So that's how I look at it. And then and it just feeds into all the other aspects of your life, like getting pussy, talking to girls. That's sales. Whatever you want to do. the art of the deal is what we're discussing, I guess. I appreciate the compliments in the chat. Yes, I reckon that I was pretty good at stand up, and I'm good at I'm good at broadcasting. And where I'm at in my life right now, the only thing I can really focus on right now are the things that I can focus on, which are doing my job and then broadcasting and just the day-to-day incremental improvements I can make to rebuild to make a life for myself. As far as like actually getting back to doing stand-up, doing all that, that's coming. Ain't no rush on that. You know, life is unexpected. There's many twists and turns. It's like Dark Souls. You know, it's like playing Dark. You ever play Dark Souls?
I think I've watched
You know?
Nick play it.
Yeah, it's like you play that game. You don't know what's going on. You don't know where you're going. You just know you have a mission, and then you get slaughtered. You get fucking ground into the dirt, and then you wake back up at the bonfire. You've learned a little bit from your last venture. You get back out there. You get killed again. Try it, and then you do it again and again and again until eventually you become as powerful as a fucking god, and then you fight
Yeah.
God himself, basically.
I
That's what
feel
I'm
like
doing.
I feel like you like as long as you're improving. I'm really glad you've recovered. I'm glad that you're going to continue to flex those muscles and get better, stronger, whatever. But like, especially, man, I loved seeing you roast Dalton. Your self awareness, the acumen, the ability to just do what you did because he's just so not, and you so were, and it's like you still are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
saying he's
I
garbage. He is, but that's neither here nor there. I wish
I was aware of that to a degree that like I kind of had this like weird like Dune, almost like Muad'Dib-esque awareness that I was bringing something different to the table that I think people found refreshing. I just in my own life was just so unstable in a lot of ways, and just unknowingly was my health was just completely deteriorating. Like I didn't even realize it. And it ended how it ended. I mean, it would, it would have been nice if after all that happened, during and after, if my business and creative partners had maybe had my back more in some way.
Yeah.
But they fucking split pretty quickly. So I just was like out with on my ass with my thumb in my ass.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you're the person I looked up, not them.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out where you were. Like I was glad you came back because I did always like your content and stuff. And
yeah, and like there's probably like some revisionism on their part now. Like to Robbie's credit, he's been a good friend during and after the fact. But I don't think Joe was ever a friend of mine. But to Robbie's credit, he has tried to be a good friend. But I mean, there was definitely like as we were doing that show and whatever was happening. There was tension because of that, because of the fact that like I had been positioned as sort of the whatever you want to call it, the I'm hesitant to say this, but maybe the star of the show, the person that people were like gravitating toward.
The pizzazz.
Yeah,
had some pizzazz, but yeah, no, that I understand that statement.
Yeah, I was the blossom and they were Bubbles and Buttercup. And but we all brought something to the table.
Robbie loves his impressions.
Yeah, I mean, at least me and Robbie brought something to the table. Looking back on it,
Adam Sandler and Pacino, and those were always, a good.
Yeah, I always had a lot of fun riffing with Robbie.
A lot of fun.
And it always felt kind of stilted with Joe. Like he didn't it was weird. Like it didn't seem like he was too enthusiastic about being there, and it almost felt like antagonistic with him. Like,
Is it a cultural thing? The whole, he's half Japanese. They can be quite reserved.
I don't know. It seemed like with him, honestly, it seemed like he wanted to present more as like cool and mysterious and enigmatic or whatever. Like he was afraid of like being cringe in any way, and in that effort would just constantly undermine me and take jabs at me and be like, I don't know, just antagonistic toward me. It like we very rarely got along. We were not friends, and he said that. Like he made it a point to let me know that we weren't actually friends.
Oh, that's sad. I do consider myself a little bit of a Gormanite or whatever they're called, but so when you see him from behind, he's very much reminiscent of Yoko Ono, right? Like just the hair, the length, the silky smoothness. I
Yeah,
always imagine when he turns around, he's just going to start singing those John Lennon songs, but no.
yeah. No, the way that we've been talking here, like me, Jigglypuff, Ronan, everybody in the chat, was impossible with him. Like these sorts of like more open and honest discussions like this, the venting and whatever we're doing. I remember with him in our group chat, he like told me and Robbie, because me and Robbie are more open in this way. He told us like, hey, I'm not the person to talk like this to. Like, I'm not your therapist, and I'm not here in that way. And
That sounds like a healthy guy.
yeah,
I like how Urjo says Joe isn't reserved. I'm like, yeah, he doesn't sound reserved. Yeah.
no, he's not reserved. He's very exaggerative and expressive, but it's contrived. It's a put on. Like he's obviously like masking his own like whatever shit he deals with and his own insecurity. He's short and ugly, so to compensate for that, he's always playing up this fucking like character that he's doing. But in doing so, he offers nothing for anyone to like connect with in any tangible way. And that's not to say that comedy to go out there and try and be a podcast or comedian or whatever has to be this schmaltzy, saccharine thing where you're like trying to develop this deep connection with the audience. But if you're constantly doing shtick and this over the top exaggerative performance, there really is nothing for the audience to latch on to. It's why I can't. It's why I don't necessarily enjoy those kinds of movies that do that. The movies that are purely just jokes. Some of them work, like Airplane obviously works, but I never particularly cared for like Anchorman because of that. Because I was like, well, these aren't real people in any regard. This is just a joke machine. So there's nothing. There's no meat to like bite into in this movie. And maybe the perfect version of all of this is 30 Rock. That was like the perfect like just joke after joke after joke, but also still like characters, still like human characters that you could like connect with in some way.
Yeah, maybe Always Sunny too. Like that had like character stuff going on, and it would have some jokes, but it was a lot more what was happening and what they were doing and the way the characters interacted with each other. They weren't making jokes, they were taking the situation seriously, but the comedy of the whole thing in perspective is what it was, and not necessarily like that there's some, isn't it an Airplane where it's just like poo gets flung all over them, and then they're like, "What was that?" And they're like, "Shit hit the fan."
Yeah, the shit hits the
like,
fan, and then it cuts to a dookie being thrown into an actual fan. That movie works. Like that movie does work, and that there's nothing serious about that movie. There's no real like character development or much of a plot. Like there's a plot, but it's all
yeah, I
in
was gonna say there's not much of a 3-act structure to Leslie Nielsen's movies.
Yeah, it's just a joke machine, and that works. But then like other movies that have done that, like I never cared for like the scary movies for that reason. Like I always thought they sucked because of that. And then all the derivatives thereof, like epic movie and disaster movie, and yeah, no worries, Ronan. Dude, we're doing a marathon here. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, thanks for coming on. And so I guess like my thoughts on what I'm talking about, I guess, like comedy broadcasting performance. Yeah, there has to be something that people can like connect to in some way, and there's a balance because it's also like you don't want to go too far the other way. You don't want to get into like that saccharine territory. I like that's why I never liked The Office for that reason. I never liked it when sitcoms would start to try and like tug at my heartstrings and have these like developments for the characters that were like they're falling in love, they're out of love, they're getting married, having kids.
Yeah, that was something I liked about 30 Rock a lot was like because I've watched and rewatched that fucking show. Is that all of Liz's most of her relationships are with exes. So you don't see them like dating and falling in love. Like you're already in this guy's a piece of shit for whatever reason. Liz is Liz Lemon and how they interact and how catty they are to each other, I guess you could say. Like honestly, the only time I think she had a new boyfriend in that show is a new season would start and it would already like, oh, they've been dating for like 4 or 5 months or whatever. Like you're in the middle of the relationship where the dialogue is funny. They're not doing the schmaltzy I love you lovey dovey stuff.
Yeah, that show was certainly like in service of the jokes, and I think they understood that there had to be like some like foundational structure that allowed for the joke machine to crank out the jokes. But it's also like the reason that Chappelle sucks now is he takes himself way too fucking seriously, and he's more of like a fucking just
Preacher.
whatever preacher. Yeah, because his stand up back in the day was like jokes and tall tales. It was like there was a lot of substance but it was also very silly. Like that joke he has about like thwarting a terrorist attack on an airplane. It's like, well, that didn't happen. It definitely didn't happen. That would have been in the news. But it's so silly. It's just funny. It's like well structured. But now where it's like his grievances with wokeism and cancel culture and trans, like whatever he's doing, I don't condemn him for tackling those topics. I condemn him for being fucking gay about it. We're just like
not being a comedian about it.
Yeah, just
he'll
like
talk for like 5 minutes and then make a joke, and then it's this big standing ovation, and he's laughing at his own joke like he didn't know the punchline was coming. And it's like I can understand that in certain instances, but like you just talked for 5 minutes, like there wasn't anything funny in it. Like Louis C.K. will kind of do that, but he'll throw jokes in or like point out something that's absurd about it before he goes into his point. Like it's not as
Louis interesting because I think he's very determined in whatever it is he's doing. So if it's stand up, it's like just fun. Like he's determined to make it as funny as possible. It's like I'm here to do jokes, and like within that, any points I make are just like a byproduct of me just like trying to be funny. But then like other stuff he's done, like Horace and Pete was very sincere and very like serious. And I mean, there were funny moments in it, but I mean, that was a heavy show. And then like even his FX show was like a comedy that became like this surrealist experiment that he was doing. And then like seeing him. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say like that episode where his daughter thinks she's dreaming and like just gets off on a random stop at the subway and he has to like make a serious point to her or whatever. And it's like there's probably not a single joke in that whole episode, but I love that episode because it outside of the topics it was tackling, it was a lot more like it didn't come out of left field for that show. Like it was in the vein of that like surrealism and like comedy of situation as opposed to like a character being sarcastic, and that's what's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, he's brilliant. And it's interesting to see him because he used to, prior to the incident, you would only ever see interviews with him either on late night talk shows, or he would do like Opie and Anthony. But he never did like the podcasting thing. He never had one, and he never went on other people's podcasts. And then like during the pandemic, he did have a podcast on his website that he was doing with his girlfriend at the time. And I remember listening to that, and I thought it was like so interesting and refreshing because it wasn't a comedy show. It was literally just like very sincere conversations between him and this like French comedian he was dating. And like he was stuck in New York and she was stuck in France during the pandemic. So they were like, I guess like Zooming or whatever. And I thought it was like really,
I'll say.
Yeah, it was really interesting to listen to. And then to see him on podcasts now, they like will do the podcast circuit every now and then. It's really cool to watch how whatever show he's doing, the person, whoever this person's show is, they're in podcast mode. So they're doing like the performance of like trying to be funny and do this podcast that they've been doing. And he's very reserved and just like low key and like sincere. I've watched like a lot of the stuff he did when he was like going on other podcasts, and he was not
like promoting that movie and stuff.
Promoting the movie and promoting his upcoming special. He was not trying to riff or even like necessarily be funny, but he was just being very earnest. And I thought it was like really cool to watch because you don't see that a lot in like the podcast sphere. You see people, trying to perform and riff bits and do whatever, do the shuck and jive. And he
not just like have an interesting conversation to listen to. Like so many podcasts are like very disposable. Like it's very flavor of the week where it's like, why would I go back and listen to this? But like those president podcasts he did with Matt and Shane were really good. And I've gone back and listened to those. And he did like a podcast with Joe List where Joe talks movies or something. And he like talked about Kubrick on that. And
I watched that. Yeah, I enjoyed that because that other guy, I liked that guy Renan, but he was such a fucking dipshit on that. Like, I was like, dude,
I know.
You look so fucking stupid right now. Yeah, Conan's podcast is another good example. His podcast is really good because he'll riff bits, he'll do improv and riff and all that, but it is very genuine. I really like his show. Yeah, I guess it's like that thing where it's like if someone's passionate about something and like really interested in whatever they're talking about and genuine and earnest about it, it's it is entertaining. It's like something that's worth listening to. Whereas like
sincerity is there isn't enough of it these days. Although everyone has irony poisoning and post irony poisoning, it's like people can't like be genuine or passionate about something. So seeing it in action is really great and refreshing.
I have been aware of that for a while, and I've like fallen into the irony thing for sure. But like, have you ever read any like David Foster Wallace?
I started Infinite Jest, but I need to start with something smaller. I guess
I like that book. And it may just be because I read it at the time I read it. Maybe I haven't read it since I was.
That's how a lot of books are.
It's probably been like 8 years since I've read that book. And I remember enjoying it. his essays I think are much better than that book. Like if you go get like a collection of his essays, like Consider the Lobster or A Supposedly Fun Thing I'll Never Do Again.
He has a talk at Harvard called "What Is Water?"
Yes,
And
I think it's at Amherst. I don't know.
oh,
His
yeah, it was some like
alma mater. I think it's at his alma mater, which is Amherst.
okay, but yeah, that speech is really good. That's kind of what made me get the book because I had seen people say it was good, and then I read that little thing he did, "What Is Water?" and I was like, oh, this guy is really good.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about Infinite Jest. He shows no restraint in that book. No, like, I don't know what the editorial process was in writing that, but he writes everything. Yes, that he was thinking about at that time. It's there's some writers who utilize like economy of language and the power of like
Yeah,
suggestion.
minimalism or whatever.
Yeah, brevity. Like Hemingway or Steinbeck or whomever, and he's the opposite of that. It's like maximalism. It's just fucking everything. So it's a long fucking book, and it's just this long winding road. And when I read it, the value of it to me was like how accurate his predictions were in that book. It's a fiction, it's a novel, it's fiction, but it's like speculative fiction, so it takes place at some like undisclosed time in the future. And he like predicted a lot of like what the world would become because it was published in like 97. And like I look around at the world we live in now and I'm like, I mean, this is like kind of what that book was talking about. But in his essays and in interviews he talked a lot about irony and versus sincerity and how like he was concerned about how people were gravitating more toward irony and developing this like aversion to sincerity. And he kind of called it. He's like, the way things are headed as I see it, we're gonna get really fucking lonely, and it's gonna be like a big problem if people lose the ability to like be sincere. And he said like irony has its place, but if everybody is shielding themselves in this like irony, then people are gonna like there's gonna be like an epidemic of loneliness. And then like every other week now, what do you see? Another article about like male loneliness or like whatever it is, So that was like one of his big fears. That in conjunction with technology, the internet, TV, and all that. He has an essay. I think it's in A Supposedly Fun Thing I'll Never Do Again. One of his essays, he talks about at the time his anxieties regarding TV, where he was like, they say the average person consumes 6 hours of TV a day. And he made this argument where he was saying, like, I'm not saying watching TV is unhealthy, but 6 hours is definitely unhealthy. And, he killed himself in like 07, I think. So he was dead like right before social media hit, but he got to experience like TV and then some of the internet. And it's like, damn, dude, if you could see what we're doing now, it's so
You
much
kill
worse.
yourself twice.
Yeah, it's so much worse than what you were concerned about happened, and it got so much worse. Like,
yeah. And like I remember talking to my friend, it's like I love The Matrix. I think it's a great movie for a lot of different reasons. But nobody could make that movie today, partially because of like all the weird Nine Inch Nails leather stuff and all the club music and the like commitment to this action does look cool as fuck and I love it. It's like people couldn't approach something with that much sincerity these days, I don't
yeah,
feel, without being afraid of like being made fun of or all the things that influenced the Wachowskis when they made it, all the different
it's
films
also
and stuff.
everything's been inverted. So to make it today, it would be like too on the nose, and also like the original movie to watch it now. His life in that movie was he had a good job, and it's fucking what 1999, so it's like the zenith of American culture. And at that time, people were starting to experience this like existential awakening and dealing with like all these feelings of ennui. And so at that time, what you're presented with is this like breaking free from like the shackles of society at that time, and entering into the real world, which is as presented in that movie is you're eating slop and running away from the robots or whatever, but you're free. You're free from like whatever that was that you were in. And it's
Yeah.
like to watch it now, it's like, why would you leave the Matrix? Why? It's like, yo, that looks so much better than having to deal with that other bullshit. And like watching it now, it's like the Joey Pants character kind of had the right idea. It's like, put me back in. This fucking sucks.
Yeah, or at very least the mouse guy who was like, "Did you like that red lady? Like, I can
Yeah,
give you everything you want with her."
yeah. And so it was interesting to watch the new one, Resurrections, where in that, did you see that one?
No, it just seemed like too cynical. I was like,
It's not cynical. I
I
liked it.
saw.
I liked it a lot because, like, in that movie, um, there was this like reckoning between the real world and the Matrix, where in the time that Neo has been away, the people of Zion, which, which is a funny name for it now, all things considered now.
Yeah,
Um, they had this like reckoning with the Matrix, where they realized like we're not in combat or competition with the Matrix. Like we have to learn how to exist in harmony with this thing. So when Neo is back in the real world and he's talking to the Jada Pinkett Smith character, who's old as shit now, she's showing him like, yeah, we're not like at war with the Matrix anymore, and like we actually cooperate with it. Like we have programs in the Matrix that are helping us here in the real world, like rebuild and all that. And she tells him like, you being here is actually gonna like make things worse. Like this is gonna actually like throw a wrench in our plans. So I thought it was like a cool movie, and I thought it was like a good course correction for that story. To be like, yeah, this like whatever this idea of the Matrix is not something that can be defeated. It's something we have to learn to live with and like cohabitate with. The simulation itself, because like in our world, like we're not. I don't buy into the idea that we're like in a computer. The simulation is just like the what Adam Curtis talks about in that hypernormalization documentary, where it's like we created this simulation around us, is so like we exist within this performance that we have, like this simulated existence, and that's the simulation, and we have to make peace
yeah,
with the fact that like the real world and the simulation kind of like exist one and the same, and but at the same time the simulation is collapsing. Like it's also like all the horrors that we've been trying to like block out um are now like more real to us now. Like back in the day, um that was all like abstract to us, Israel, Palestine, the horrors of war, all these other countries. It was like, no, we live in this, the 80s, 90s. It's like shit's fucking popping here. We love this. And now all that shit's just constantly banging at the door. Like, no, this is real. This is happening. Sorry to pull you out of like whatever this idyllic simulation you've been living in, but that's over now. So now it's time to reboot Matrix 2.0, I guess.
yeah.
Um,
Kind of, we are the imagination of ourselves type of thing.
yeah,
Where, yeah, this is a simulation.
yeah. I'm also, a lot of this is me talking out of my ass. I'm trying to sound like I know what I'm talking about, but I don't know if I'm smart enough to uh, articulate all this. It's just, I think about it a lot, I guess. Um,
Well, you're fooling me.
well, I've read. I guess I'm more well read than the average podcaster, comedian. But that don't mean a whole hell of a lot, because these are people who Haven't read a book since probably high school, if that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm back into reading now though.
Yeah, I've been trying to get like just mostly going through stuff I've read before, but yeah, getting back into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I started reading what am I reading? Oh, yeah, I started reading Starship Troopers.
Yeah, that's on my to read list because I've heard it's really good. I've never seen the movie because I found out that there was a book,
Dude.
and I'm kind of like, I don't want to watch the movie until I've read the book, but at this point, I should just watch the movie
We'll
because
we'll
I've
wrap
been
up
wanting
on
to
this.
read that book.
We'll wrap
All
up
right.
on this because we've been going like 3 hours now. This has been a fun New Year's Eve live stream, but we'll get out here on
Agreed.
this discussion. Everybody has to watch Starship Troopers. Fuck all this noise. Like, don't feel like you got to read the book first. That movie is required viewing. That movie is perfect. It like that. It came out in '97, and it completely reveals like what the like American Empire is. Just as this like sci-fi uh military action story.
Yeah, because it's
Um
like satire, right?
it's satire. So the best way to like describe what the movie is, because a lot of people misinterpret it. Like Paul Verhoeven deliberately made it in a way that I think he even knew that a lot of people were going to hate this movie and think it was just a bad movie. But what the movie is propaganda for the people of Earth at that time. So
Okay.
what you're watching is like the future version of who was that, the Hitler entertainment person. Does anybody know the name I'm trying to think of?
Is it Goebbels?
Not Goebbels.
No.
Whoever the propagandist was.
I know what you're talking about.
That
The like
the
Prime
film
Minister of propaganda.
yeah, the filmmaker for the Nazi Party, like during World War II. So it's like a version of those kinds of propaganda films, but at this point in the future. So you're watching like pro war, pro genocide propaganda being made for the like the military state that exist in the world of Starship Troopers. So all these like uh seemingly bad performances, these like chewing the scenery, over the top performances, and very like just you just have to watch it because like
I get what you're saying. It's tongue in cheek, but people didn't realize it was tongue in cheek.
a lot of people misinterpreted it because it's made to purposefully be like kind of bad because it's a hokey
It's supposed to
like
make you cringe. Yeah.
yeah because it's like a propaganda film. And so Matt's right. Like the movie Starship Troopers is like the commercials in RoboCop.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah, which
I
was
get it.
also
Okay.
directed by Paul Verhoeven. RoboCop also required viewing, but yeah, Starship Troopers the movie is amazing, and it like he nails like what the American Empire is, and he kind of predicts the Iraq War. Like 4 or 5 years before it would happen. Like our attitude and fervor for the Iraq invasion. You see it in that movie as it pertains to humanity's invasion of this like bug planet. It's good. Starship Troopers is very good, and I don't think you need to read the book to watch the movie. They're two different things. So yeah, folks, that's if I can impart any message onto anyone here, you got to watch Starship Troopers.
All right. Well, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, this has been cool. I didn't know we could do call-ins, but now I got that figured out. The possibilities are endless. Well, Jigglypuff, thank you for joining in. This has been a good discussion. Happy New Year's, everybody. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Stay tuned for more podcasts, more titty videos. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/cornfed with Dalton Pruitt. And everybody just go enjoy your New Year's, and when you get the chance, go watch Starship Troopers. Okay, and
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Odd Langenstein in stream. End stream.